Hello and welcome to the second ICC T20I between Japan and Indonesia happening at the Sano International Cricket Ground up in Tochigi Prefecture in Japan. We've had a little bit of a delay between with the start of the game with a little bit of overnight rain and a wet outfield. The game is going to start at 2 p.m. local time, so about 3 minutes from now, the batsmen are walking into the crease. Japan once again are batting first, just as the last time, which was yesterday. Japan winning that fixture yesterday handsomely after scoring 142 in their 20 overs, and they managed to restrict Indonesia to 72 in their allotted 20 overs. We've had 3 changes in the Japan 11 today, with Makoto Taniyama and Piyush Kumbare and Alex Shirai Patmore being rested for the game today. There are three new players coming in. Vinay Iyer, having been given his international cap, his debut for the game. And we've also had Shogo Kimura also coming in, and of course Kento Ota Dobel also coming into this 11 for this particular fixture. Indonesia, from the looks of it, have made just the one change here. Maxi Koda, the standout bowler from yesterday, having been rested today, with Budiartha coming in place of him, number 25 on his shirt. Looks like Priyandana, number 11, going to open the bowling for Indonesia. Conventional field, a little offside heavy here. Short cover as well as a conventional cover with a slip and a gully, point and mid-off, rounding off the offside ring, with just the 2 fielders on the leg side, a short mid-on and deep square leg. And joining me today is Alan Kerr, just coming in from what has been a very busy start due to the delay.
Afternoon, everyone. Yeah, just it's one of those days, Tam, where you spend hours and hours sitting around doing nothing.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, the umpires tell you there's only 15 minutes between toss and starting play. Now, was that the first ball?
Yes, that was the first ball indeed.
Marvellous.
Comfortably played and clipped away for a single.
Excellent. Now, Tamoy, I have some small confessions to make to our listeners. So yesterday, as you know, we sit here commentating on the game out the window. Mm-hmm. And we have the laptop set up so that we can watch the live stream, which is on a slight delay, which enables us to get a bit of a replay.
Yep.
Not only that, it enables us to check the comments and respond. And as you also know...
A hint of swing there.
Swing there, hit hard, straight to the fielder. As you also know, we're running an English language stream and a Japanese language stream.
Indeed.
And yesterday, when I had the stream up, I had the Japanese language stream up. And so all the comments were only for the Japanese commentators. So all the people commenting in the English box, I missed all their comments. I saw them last night and went and had a look. So apologies to everyone. I wasn't ignoring you. I was just looking at the wrong stream.
Went hard at it.
It's a thick outside edge.
Thick outside edge. It's a new opening combination this time today, Alan.
Oh, is it now?
Navratna has been promoted up the order today. Had a wild swing at that outswinging delivery over there. Lachlan Yamamoto Lake taking strike once again. Had a short stay at the crease yesterday, but he'll try to make amends this time around.
Yes, just looking at the... That's hit hard again, got straight to the fielder. Yes, looking at the comments, I have to say a big shout out to Ben Stinger, who was in the English commentary comments box in YouTube and was giving everyone the information that they require. Ben's one of the biggest fans of Japan cricket from overseas, lives in Perth. Never met him, never spoken to him, but we've exchanged plenty of messages.
Always love the support coming in from overseas.
Yeah, it's terrific. Okay, so I'm sure you've, forgive me if I'm going over old ground, I'm sure Tamoy's already told everyone it's a delayed start and a reduced overs match.
Yes.
19 overs per side.
Thankfully, we haven't lost a lot of overs.
One over. It's terrific, isn't it?
Just the one over. We'd still have just about a full game being played again. Overcast conditions, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty damp outfield. The bowler's run-ups ends are a little bit stodgy, but considered safe by the umpires. They wouldn't be playing if they didn't think it was. But,
yes, we did have a look at the conditions and the outfield a little while earlier. And of course, the bowlers' run-ups are a little tricky, but of course, the bowlers do have their spikes on. It's not going to be as slippery as our trainers were.
Yeah, quite. I nearly went over a couple of times. Yeah, and both teams are happy to play, so in these kind of situations, it's a bilateral series, and Indonesia have travelled a long way. It's all about just getting the game on, isn't it?
Absolutely. Just the 3 games here. We have to remind our viewers, tomorrow going to be another early start.
It's an early start tomorrow, 9:30 Japan time. Yes,
so it's going to be back-to-back fixtures for Indonesia to be playing shortly after they've arrived into Japan, just the day before yesterday. And they'll be hoping to make a much improved effort this time around. Of course, yesterday was a little bit of a dampener for their batting effort while chasing 143. Navratna is taking strike to the Indonesian bowler Arta here, the left armour, who had a pretty decent outing yesterday as well. He'll be trying to swing the ball into the right-hander.
Interesting changes, isn't it? Supan promoted yesterday. We saw very keen to go left-hand, right-hand combinations as often as possible, but they've done away with that straight away.
Seems to be the case. Supan is, of course, likes to take on the new ball. As we talked about yesterday, most of the batters selected in the Japan 11 are top-order batsmen for their respective club teams, and Navratna is being given the chance this time. He did have a good outing yesterday.
I suspect there will be...
Nicely struck there. Clipped away to the leg side.
Slow outfield.
Fielder giving chase, and the batsmen are comfortably back for 2.
Just looking at the lineups, looks like it's going to be a left-hander heavy middle order for Japan with Fleming, Kimura and Suzuki all likely to feature in there, although you've still got Takahashi and Ravichandran.
Yes, of course, Shirai Patmore being rested today in favour of... we have a 100th cap this time for Japan.
We do, the 100th player. So that will be whoever comes in first.
Yes,
on the score sheet, Vinay Iyer is listed to come down ahead of Kento Otodobel, who are the 2 debutants. We had a cap presentation ceremony for them this morning. We had Tomoki Ota and Makoto Taniyama handing over the caps, which was a nice touch.
Swinging in, but... clipping the pads, but the umpire is not interested.
Always going down leg side, that one. So Tamoy, how did you amuse yourself this morning?
It was a nice long walk to the field from the hotel, which is down around the city centre area. It's a comfortable, nice walk. Of course, nice conditions to be walking in. Not the sun baking down, of course. Driven straight to mid-on rather.
I spoke to Lachlan Yamamoto just before the toss. He was pretty pleased that we were actually going to get a game on. He wasn't feeling all that confident when I think I'd spoken to him previously, and very keen to get some runs under his belt today. 1 off 5 at the moment. Such a talented player. He's been earmarked by the Japan selectors for a long time, and getting his chance in this series, put his best foot forward, because there are plenty of quality players competing for places at the top of the order, aren't there?
Absolutely. It's going to be a very emotional debut for even Vinay Iyer, who's had a long wait to make himself available for playing international cricket for Japan.
Yeah, Vinay was somewhat, not quite lost for words, but he wasn't. He was a bit choked up, I think, when he got his cap.
Yes,
good to see.
Precisely.
Shows how much it means to him.
Absolutely.
He's worked very hard. He's founded his own cricket club. Spent 2 years trying to get them. They look like they're going to get promoted to the Division 1.
Yes.
And all this stuff he's doing to benefit Japan cricket. He's coaching teams, kids in the mornings before work. He's up at 6:30 and goes down and coaches kids.
Yes, very involved in the local cricket circles, Vinay Iyer, helping the local kids come up the ranks. And also, in the time that he does get to play cricket, he plays that very well indeed.
Yeah, of course. He's a good example of what we speak about when we often get asked, what do non-Japanese passport holders have to do in order to get selected? Well,
absolutely.
You have to be very active in the cricket community. It's not just about runs and wickets.
Yes.
That helps, of course, but you do have to be playing an active role in your club. And you look at Supan and Sabaris, they both captain their clubs. That's a big hit, straight.
Supan Navratna has taken the aerial route and has cleared the straight boundary quite comfortably there.
Not worried about the slow outfield there, is he? Just go over the top of it.
Not at all. The ball was in his half this time, pitched up by the opening bowler there, and Navratna not holding anything back and swinging hard at it, straight down, right past the side screen for a huge 6.
I think there were a few eyebrows raised yesterday amongst the people in the know about Supan coming in at number 7, weren't they?
Absolutely.
You said yesterday on comms it shows the depth, but given the chance today to show everyone what he can do at the top.
Precisely, he did manage to have a nice bat out there in the middle in the second half of the innings yesterday. Deserved promotion out there. Smashes one wide past of mid-off, but the slow outfield is going to stop the ball in the half.
That looked like 4 all the way, didn't it?
Absolutely.
It's obviously hit a spongy patch and just slowed up completely because he seemed to hit out the middle.
Not the result that Navratna was expecting out there, but comfortably back for 2 there. Priyandana, the bowler, has been taking the ball away from the right-hander, but has just been pitching it a little too full on this occasion. And again, with the depth in the Japan batting order, the batsmen are quite comfortable taking their risks and using the field restrictions in the first 6 overs.
It was interesting yesterday, wasn't it, Tamai? The Indonesian bowlers, they bowled only 4 bowlers in the first 12 overs.
Yes.
3-3-3-3. So did give the batters a good chance to line them up and have a look.
Handsomely driven through cover.
Slow again, but I think that might go. Yeah, that's going to go.
Just has enough legs to trickle over the boundary rope. Navratna opening up this time, driven very handsomely along the ground this time, and gets another boundary. A good fast start for Japan, trying to follow it up from their performance yesterday.
It's a different kind of intent today, isn't it? We saw Kaduaki Fleming and Yamamoto Lake really going hard to try and hustle between the wickets. They're taking chances with quick singles, but with Navratna is very much a boundary hitter, isn't he?
Yes, Navratna is known for hitting the big strokes. He's looking to make use of the field restrictions, and he's gone for one too many there. The bat seemed to have turned in his hand a little bit, scooping it up to cover for a comfortable catch there. Navratna's stay at the crease is short-lived. 17 for 1 suddenly Japan finds itself.
I guess you can argue he's done his job there. He's got a strike rate of nearly 200, 15 off 8. I guess that'll be 15 off 9 once the scoreboard updates.
And your call for a left-right combination comes true already.
Yeah, looks like the captain coming out, doesn't it?
Yes. Kendall Kaduaki Fleming walking into the crease to join Lachlan Yamamoto Lake to continue with the left-right combination, again carrying on from yesterday. We also had a little bit of celebrations after the game got over yesterday, with a birthday being celebrated from one of the Japan boys.
That's right. Ryan Drake turned 20. He is now a man in Japan.
20 years old, yes,
Officially
exactly.
An adult, which means all sorts of good things are going to come his way, I'm sure.
Absolutely. That's the benchmark and the for Japanese individuals to be turning 20.
It was good to see yesterday, wasn't it? We had the barbecue going, both teams mixing and having a chat and sharing the cake. And
very nice to see. Yes, even though the rain did dampen the celebrations a little bit after the game, but it was nice to see both the teams mingling with each other. Well bowled by
digging that one out.
Swings into the left-hander.
I think everyone will be quite excited about the chance to watch Shogo Kimura later on today. A player who has really come on a lot in the last 18 months. And this season he's been striking the ball as well as anyone in Japan.
Yes, he did have a fantastic 100 a couple of months ago, didn't he?
Opening weekend of the season.
Yes.
His team was chasing 240 odd, and they looked like they were just going to meander and fall 40 runs short. They needed something like 60 off the last 5 overs, and they did it with an over to spare. Shogo hitting 7 of his last 10 balls for 6. It was an extraordinary display, and not only that, he hit 30 off an over in a T10 game.
Absolutely.
Just about a month ago, and I think it was those two things that did enough to persuade the selectors that actually he offers something a bit different to what the other guys do. It's a new umpire pairing from yesterday as well. Chris Thurgate is still out there. He'll be off tomorrow, but joining him, Rob Newman. I presume, I'm pretty confident that this is Rob's first international match, so big day for him. And congratulations to Rob for being chosen. He follows Adam Burst, who did his first international game yesterday. Adam's still here as well. He's hanging around and just helping the guys out. That'll be called wide.
Yes, interesting that you were touching upon Shogo Kimura. Also, a very different breed of batters from Japan coming in with a different sporting background.
Yeah, he's not the only one that we had. Musashi Yamamoto was around for a couple of years, but gave it away at the end of last season. Decided to go and play golf, which is a shame. He'd had 3 solid. That's a decent shot, but it's the man down there. And that fielder, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we, Tamloy? About either saving 1, saving 4, or catching.
Yes.
And this guy is nowhere really. He's saving 2 because they're always going to get a single to him, and he's not catching. I think he needs to be either on the circle or on the boundary. But stood in no man's land, and if he was on the circle, he might have caught that.
I think the outfielders are a little inside from their conventional positions on the ropes, probably because of the slower outfield there, and not trying to prevent the batters going for a second run. But that's excellently timed, straight down the ground for a 6 on the offside by
Kadawaki Fleming.
Kadawaki Fleming, who's decided to just advance down the track to the left armour Arta.
It's his first maximum in Japan colours. He's quickly asking for the sight screen to get moved. His teammates looking a bit slow on the uptake with it. Come on, fellas, help him out.
Excellently timed there by Kadawaki Fleming.
Struck it beautifully, didn't he?
Yes, the Japan batters are showing their intent very clearly. They want to get on with the game. Of course, there is the rain that's going to be looming around. The overcast conditions, we might have an interruption later in the day, and Japan taking no risks and taking the challenge head on there.
Runs on the board, so important, aren't they, when there's dodgy weather around. So that's chipped, but it won't carry. And they'll get through for a single.
We also had a number of direct hits by the Indonesian fielders yesterday, which also resulted in a couple of runouts there towards the end of Japan's innings. And this time they were comfortably in.
I think that impressed everyone, didn't it, yesterday, Tamoy, the standard of the fielding from the Indonesian team.
The ground fielding was particularly impressive, especially their throwing and the alertness on the ball.
I felt their discipline with the ball in hand was generally pretty good too. It was another big hit.
Excellently flicked.
And again, Temwa, just what we were saying, if the fielder's on the boundary rope...
That would have been straight down his throat.
So instead, it's a one bounce four, bouncing just inside the boundary.
Lachlan Yamamoto Lake is also away, has handsomely flicked that one bounce into the boundary on the leg side. Japan motoring along quite handsomely over there. Have already reached 32 for 1 in the fourth over, which is still 2 balls to go into the completion of this over. We are going to have a 19 over game, as I'd like to remind the viewers. Slight change of field there, a square leg coming in next to the square leg umpire. That's been smashed straight down the ground by Yamamoto Lake. Just over the head of the umpire. Perfect place to hit the ball when you are trying to take the aerial route. Excellent start by the Japan batters, notwithstanding the loss of that one wicket, Super Navratna perishing early, but having done the job, having given a very, very fast start to the Japan innings here. Been chipped away safely towards the onside, of the offside rather, and Yamamoto Lake is back for a second run. That's a very productive over for Japan, and they have raced along to
36 for 1. Oh, 38 for 1.
38 for 1 at the end of the fourth over. That was a very expensive over for Indonesia there. I suspect there might be a change in the bowling from that end.
Yeah, Japan racing along, going at 9.5 and over. It's the kind of start they would have wanted. And you're talking about these pitches and whether they're difficult to bat on because of the uneven bounce and the slightly damp conditions. Kind of all excuses go out the window when you're batting like these two are at the moment, don't they?
Absolutely.
Clean hitting. That over went wide 1-6-1-4-4-2, so plenty happening.
Looks like Indonesia have already gone for a bowling change. Captain Gamantika trying to move his bowlers around a little more proactively as compared to yesterday. Of course, they made a better start with their seamers yesterday, but Japan has made a much better start this time. And you have another new bowler coming in, number 26, Muhammad Hafiz. The left arm spinner. The right arm offie rather.
Bit of a move on the sight screen down below us. Sight screen at the far end a bit more difficult to move because it's full of camera equipment.
Also, so with the left and right hand combination makes the job of the side screen managers a little more difficult.
Tougher, doesn't it? Yeah.
Have to be on their toes all the time. And these are very conventional old wooden side screens which take a lot of muscle to be moved around.
Let's have a quick look. Don't forget to jump on the YouTube comments and to tweet us, JPNVIDN. We'll be good to see what you have to say and join the conversation.
Hafiz straight away coming round the wicket to the left-hander.
All right, Ben's out there again, I see. Good to see you, Ben. Carl's out there as well. Sorry, Carl, you were one of the people I ignored yesterday by accident. My apologies. That's another big hit straight down the ground. It's going to be 6.
Oh, that's a big 6.
These guys are in the mood today, aren't they?
Absolutely. Kadawaki Fleming charging down the track straight away. The first ball by Muhammad Hafiz. They have led their intent pretty clear, well known right from the start of the over, that they're not going to let the Indonesian bowlers settle into a rhythm.
No, absolutely not. These guys are determined to get on with it. They know they've got a deep batting order. I mean, just looking at that's another
full toss, and it's been cleared once again. One bounce into the fence.
It's just disdainfully put away, wasn't it, by Kendall Kadawaki Fleming?
Yes,
come towards him, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll get rid of that, thanks."
The captain is looking aggressive out here.
Smacked over mid-on, and Afees about 2 deliveries for 10. He's got a bit of thinking to do. Bowling in the power play is difficult enough when you've got batters going at you like these two are.
Kadawaki Fleming is very comfortable using his feet to the spinner out here.
And they've dropped mid-on back to long on. It's kind of had to, didn't they? They've got long on and long off back now. There's the 2 men out. And you go square of the wicket this time. Cut away behind point, and that's 4 more. So the changed the field. They tried to protect the long boundaries, the straight boundaries, and instead the bowler gave him some width.
Yes, he decided
not bowling to your field, is it?
No, he just decided to pull his length back enough and give himself enough room, Kadawaki Fleming, to cut the ball away between the short third man and point over there.
I think we've got Raj Kumar in the YouTube comments. I'm wondering if that's the very same Raj who was ripping his leg spinners here in Japan just a few years ago. If it is, good day to you, Raj. We miss you. Come on back and get that ball back in your hand again. Oh, goodness me. It's another full toss. It's going to be 4 more. This is
carnage out here. Japan has already passed the 50-run mark in the 5th over.
I mean, you're looking at these things and... it's a reduced overs,
yes.
But they've only lost 1. They're batting like they've lost 15 overs.
Just the 1 over. They're not taking any chances, taking no prisoners, these 2 batsmen out there. If we do have further restrictions, further reduced overs, it's going to still play into Japan's hands.
Well, it's still going after them despite all the luck they've had in this. Well, not luck, all the runs they've got already.
Cut away, but goes straight to that... fielder stationed right next to there are 2 points from the looks of it.
Yeah, it's sort of a square point and a forward point. So desperately trying to protect that area, and that one's gone through him. So just beating him. Kadawaki Fleming, a very productive over. He's 27 off 9, 27 off 7 a couple of balls ago. 27 off 10 now, sorry. Just waiting for the scoreboard to update. So yes, great positivity from these two, and 56 on the board. They were 56 for 1 now after 5 overs. They were 56 for 2 after 10 overs yesterday, I think.
54 for 4, actually.
For 4, was it?
Yeah,
Goodness
they were
me.
4 down yesterday.
So
at the halfway mark, but 18 runs from that over. Not a very good start for Afees. Of course, it's going to be difficult for the spinners to be gripping the ball with a slightly damp outfield out there.
Now, Danielson is on. Did some damage yesterday. I'm going to read a quick message from Paul Grant, who's watching in Melbourne. He said that they have both Indonesian and Japanese language programs, and tomorrow they will be watching Game 3 live in class. How awesome is that, Tamoy?
That's excellent. Excellent.
I'm wondering if that's the Paul Grant that we know so well from his time with the Chiba Sharks.
Yes, I was having a chat with one of the Indonesian team members earlier in the day, and they were very happy to be here in Japan playing proper cricket on a turf wicket, which is very hard to come by in Indonesia.
And they don't have one, apparently. So
yes.
It's no surprise that they're finding it hard work, particularly with the bat.
Absolutely. The up and down bounce is not something they're probably used to.
Yamamoto late wanted to get in the act, but that's going to be pulled up. Has he missed that? He misfielded it, but he got away with it. So 2 runs for Yamamoto, driven out to long off.
Just about overran that one, and the slow outfield thankfully just let the ball stop on its own. Yes, Yamamoto Lake not to be left behind there. He's also looking to make as many runs as possible. Dropped it short, but it's been nicely played down to the leg side, almost like a half pull, half sweep there by Yamamoto Lake. Goes for another boundary. And the flow of boundaries continue to come for Japan.
Yeah, there's an interesting contrast between these two. Kendall Kadawaki Fleming is probably more of a conventional style. He hits, more normal cricket shots. We've seen him straight drives and cuts and pulls. We've already seen just there, Lachlan Yamamoto Lake is a guy who is a bit more inventive. He is one of the younger breed. He's still just 19. He's 20 in a week or two, actually. So, but yeah, it shows that he's got a guy who's played a bit more T20 cricket and is probably a bit more grown up on a diet of watching that, and he is a bit more unorthodox with his batting. It allows him to access different areas, and Yeah, they make a good combination, I think.
Yes, Havo decided to pull the length back a little bit on that occasion there. Indonesia might be missing the services of Rogerio Maxi Koda, who was probably one of their standout performers yesterday.
Absolutely the standout bowler. I'm quite surprised they've left him out. I'm thinking about that, Tamoy. Is that a case of resting him to... He was clearly their best bowler yesterday. Is
Absolutely.
it a case they don't want Japan to see too much of him, or
might have been a case of just sore muscles out there, having a pretty good time with the ball. I would have imagined a bowler wanting another piece of the pie there, and in contrast, they've decided to rest their best player from yesterday. It's an interesting call with Budiartha coming in, and we're yet to see what his skills are going to be useful for here.
Looks like we've got plenty of people watching from around the world. People in Brisbane, the Stafford clan. Hi guys, good morning. We've got some people not just in Indonesia and Japan, but all over the place.
Handsomely smashed over cover for a one bounce boundary by Kadowaki Fleming. He's holding nothing back in that shot, putting everything behind, flaying it through extra cover.
Carl Bartram is asking where Japan and Indonesia are ranked. Carl, I can tell you that as of right now, neither team has a ranking. The ICC created the ranking system and then decided that if you haven't played a game in 4 years, you won't have it anymore. And of course, with the pandemic going on, there was no international cricket played for a couple of years, so that made it pretty tough. But since then, hopefully, with these 3 games against Indonesia and 4 matches in the tournament coming up next week, Japan and Indonesia will both be on the rankings again. You have to play a minimum of 6 games in that 4-year period. It's not just 4 years, it's actually, the cut-off date was the 1st of May 2019, slightly randomly. Otherwise, our games against the Philippines and Indonesia and Korea in 2018 would have counted, but for reasons best known by someone else, they don't. The Nepalese are here. Hello, Kaji boss. Good to see you.
There's another bit of information for Indonesia, a new setup which has been created, which is in Papua all the way, which is a 7-hour flight away from Jakarta, just for
7 hours,
just for the Indonesian cricketers to go out there and have a bit of cricketing action.
They could fly here in 7 hours. That's about the flight time.
That's exactly what we suggested to the Indonesian players as well. But it's a big country, of course, Indonesia.
You don't realize
it's
how
nice
big
to
it is.
have different facilities being created in that country as well, outside of Jakarta. 20 different prefectures, provincial teams, which means they have a lot of local tournaments also taking place in all those prefectures. And it's nice to see, some of the cricketing outposts making their developments in the world of cricket.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we, about how the EAP of all the regions is probably, the biggest black spot in the associate cricket world,
yes.
Particularly the East Asia part of that. And we're hoping to change that, starting with these 3 matches and the tournament next week. And it's great to see so many people taking an interest. We've got Bangladeshis, we've got Nepalese, we've got Aussies and the rest all here on the YouTube stream, having a watch and admiring what they're seeing, a power play that's yielded 68 runs for just 1 wicket. Spectacular stuff from Kendall Kadowaki Fleming. He's 33 off 13 now.
Another change in the bowling with Survey coming in from the school end. Padmakar Rajaram Survey, he was listed at number 10 on his shirt yesterday, but eventually he did walk out wearing a number 5, and it has been corrected today.
Yes, that has been corrected. We've got another correction on the Japan team today as well.
Yes,
Suzuki
finally
is
Declan
wearing-
Suzuki is...
They marked it as 22. They weren't listening to me when I gave them this information. Declan Suzuki is wearing number 23 today, I've been told.
He is wearing Taniyama's jersey.
He is wearing
from yesterday.
Taniyama's jersey because he forgot his shirt. There will be words had by management, I'm sure.
Yes, the coach will not be very pleased with the upkeep of their latest uniforms.
Carl. Carl's from New Zealand. Suddenly it all makes sense.
Driven straight back to the bowler very handsomely, but well done there by Survey.
So Carl, I'm sure Ray will be on the phone thanking you for your support. He doesn't take 5-wicket hauls apparently, but he does as an international cricketer. 5 for 17, Ray Sakalana Thomas yesterday. Exceptional bowling from him. Earned him the MVP award. And a few fans along the way, I suspect. He'll be itching to get the ball in his hand in these rather overcast English conditions again. It's driven again by Yamamoto, but
slight bit of misfield there.
Bit of a meal of it in the circle with a cover fielder. That's allowed him through for a single.
Yes, excellent performance by Reo Sakurano Thomas yesterday there with the ball.
We've got Supun's brother in the YouTube stream. Hello, Pasan. Are you in Japan or are you in Sri Lanka? Always good to have family members chirping up.
Absolutely. We've had a 3-day weekend here in Japan. A little more, some more fans trickling in to watch the action from different parts of Japan.
Pasan's in Australia, goodness. Navaratna clan spread all over. Just seeing there, we saw yesterday the running between the wickets between these two batters, and they're doing it again. The two guys who've barely played together, and yet they have quite a good understanding, I think, between the sticks, which is great to see. Such a quick, partnership forming, and two guys who, certainly have the talent and have the experience playing at a high level in Australia. Kendall Kadawaki Fleming, a first grade cricketer in Brisbane, and Lachlan Yamamoto Lake has played first grade in Perth as well.
Yes, very different conditions they must be encountering over there. Of course, the bouncy pitches in Australia as compared to the
it's a bit different playing on the Wacker, isn't it, than playing in Sano. But
absolutely, but again, like using all of their cricketing brain and skills, putting them together, they did not have the most impressive time out there yesterday, but making amends very well over here, making the most of their chances that they're given.
Got Brent Simmons watching in between classes. What's the matter with you, Brent? Why aren't you watching in class? That's what Paul Grant's going to be doing that tomorrow. Get the students watching it. There is a Japanese language stream. You tune off listening to us and go and listen to Shun Hashibara and his team on the Japanese comms.
Excellent Japanese commentary also available on YouTube.
Tell you what, Tamoy, it's a bit easier when I've actually got the correct stream on and all the comments coming in.
Yes, absolutely.
I really dropped the ball on that one yesterday.
We are also looking to improve our performance from yesterday, just like some of the cricketers out there.
Malcolm McComb's watching as well. His boy will be coming into bat soon. Good day, Mal.
Charges
again, just
attack.
Dropped and run. So, as we said, these guys, they're quick on their feet, and something I see a lot, Tamoy. I talk about this when I'm watching domestic games, and you'll know this from your time playing T20 cricket or 40 over cricket. You get to those last 5 overs, and suddenly the players are running everything.
Absolutely.
But actually, the best teams, they're doing that from ball 1.
Yes.
And we're seeing that with these two guys.
Absolutely.
They're batting as if it's the last 5 overs, and in T20 cricket, you can do that.
Yes, and these are young boys. We have to remind ourselves. Much fitter team, Japan overall. Very happy to run their ones and twos, and always looking for the opportunity to score runs and not just through boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a slog sweep. It'll be one bounce and fielded, so just another single. We've got viewers from New York. It's pretty cool.
Excellent.
Not sure what time it is there. Lucas Hosman's chipping in about the qualification. I can tell you, Lucas, that we don't need to beat Malaysia and Hong Kong to qualify for any tournaments. The pathway here is to win the sub-regional qualifier, which will start next week. If we win that, we'll go into a regional final against Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu and the Philippines, and the winner of that will go straight into the World Cup. Hong Kong and Malaysia will be competing in the Asia region.
Yes.
Not sure when that qualifier is, but it's a pretty competitive one.
Yes, the teams are looking to gear up for the 2024 World T20 competition,
which will be held in the US and the West Indies. Perhaps that's why we've got viewers from New York.
Absolutely. It's something to look forward to over there. Of course, the EAP qualifiers next week, which has these two teams.
He's going to catch that. Oh, he's put it down. That's a life for Kadawaki Fleming. Dropped it sort of a wide mid-on or a wide mid-wicket. He's a bit of unconventional, but it was straight to him. Head height, got both hands to it, went straight down, and Fleming hit it pretty hard. But you've got to take those chances when these guys are going like they are.
Yes, going at 10 and over here, Japan, and any wicket here is going to help Indonesia's cause. And they don't want to be chasing a lot bigger target as compared to yesterday, which they did find themselves under pressure for. Smashed to the offside by Yamamoto Lake.
I'm actually struggling to keep up with all these comments on the YouTube stream. It's taking my eyes off the cricket. But great to see Terry Fleming there. His boy's out there in the middle right now. Terry's saying he can't stand watching. He wants to get on a plane. So, Terry, you only left Japan a couple of weeks ago, I heard. Talk about bad timing on that one.
Missing all the action here.
We got the guys from the Philippines here as well. Good to see them. These guys will be looking to get a bit of an inside track on the opposition. As I mentioned, the Philippines are already in that regional final. And one more place up for grabs.
78 after 8 overs there. Almost at 10 and over. Just the loss of 1 wicket of Supun Navratna earlier in the day. Just coming back to that EAP qualifiers, which will feature obviously these two teams, plus the Republic of Korea.
South Korea, yep. The Philippines team, a couple of guys watching and noting that the team's changed a bit. Yeah, we had 8 debutants yesterday. Another 2 debuting today. So yeah, it's been one of the challenges of the pandemic is keeping the team together. Part of Japanese life as well. There's a lot demanded of Japanese workforce, and we're still an amateur game, and we had some of our elder statesmen step away. Amigo Kobayashi's retired. That was announced recently. So Yoshi Takada is concentrating on his family and his work. So Rui Matsumura concentrating on his work. Some key players from our last series have stepped away from the game, but new breed coming through, and these guys all would have been competing for places at the Under-19 World Cup qualifier, which would have been held in 2021 if it were not for the pandemic. And it sees this new crop of youth coming through, and hopefully these are the guys who will be around for a while, and there's plenty of young talent coming through as well. I've seen our academy players. There is some really, really talented cricketers coming through, and this Japan team is looking at a bright future, I think, which has been the JCA's vision and strategy, building a brighter future for the last 5 years.
Yes, it'll be interesting to hear, Alan, a little more about the JCA's the plan for the future. Of course, we do have the 5-year futures plans, which has been gaining ground pretty steadily at that.
Yeah, the strategy ran from 2018 to the end of this year, so we actually need to put together a new strategy. We're a little behind on that. We need to get that out next year. It will start from the 1st of April 2023, our new strategy.
I think it has been a successful one the last 5 years, though.
Yeah, I mean, we were on track to hit all the goals that we set, only for that to just take a bit of a dip because of the COVID pandemic. But bouncing back okay. There are a few areas that are areas of concern. University cricket, women's cricket particularly, they didn't have a broad base. And so when something like the pandemic comes along, there's half an appeal, but I don't think the umpire's going to take much notice of that. Yeah, when they get a hit, there isn't the depth coming through to really support it. So a bit of a focus on the women's particularly, and university, trying to support them to get a few more teams back. University cricket, it still means a lot to the players who play it.
Yes.
And it's been a good breeding ground, particularly for the women's game.
Yes.
Just such as the way of university life in Japan. Everyone takes up a club, and most of those are sports clubs.
Yes, just having graduated from one of the universities here in Japan, I've also found that a very intriguing part of Japanese culture, to be part of one of the sporting clubs or any extracurricular activities, which is very well supported here.
Yeah, absolutely. So still going along at around 10 and over. Serve just putting a bit of the skids on this time. The end of the power play, we've seen fielders out, of course. And that has just slowed the boundary rush that came in those first 6. Well hit.
Nicely fielded
cut off
over there.
And back for 2. Yamamoto Lake showing he's got a bit of pace between the wickets. So yeah, we've got a deep square leg, a sort of deep mid wicket, and a long on. I say all that at the end of the over, and the field's going to change again, isn't it? Tell you what, I'll just wait, shall I? I'll just put a sock in it for a moment.
A slightly improved performance by Indonesia this over. One of the few overs which has gone for less than 6 runs and over after a long break.
So Tamo, tell us a little bit more about your studies at Tsukuba Uni. It's one of the most renowned universities in Japan, and you were doing an international course. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I ended up doing my master's degree after, of course, a long break, having worked for about a decade and a half in cricketing circles and elsewhere. I did take a short break to complete my master's in Olympic studies in Japan, which was part of the Tsukuba International Academy for Sports.
It's another boundary hit straight down the ground. So Kadawaki Fleming
continues his charge.
Very much in the groove.
And he's moved into the 40s already, which is and he's looking good for a half century here.
Don't say that.
I will ignore the commentator's curse here. Of course, Sabarish Ravichandran fell short of what would have been a very deserved half century. Had an excellent outing in the middle yesterday. But Kadawaki Fleming looking very good.
But yeah, just back to your time at Scuba Uni. What was the highlight of your time studying at Scuba Uni, Tamoy?
I think, of course, experiencing life and culture in Japan, even though I did come here in the thick of the pandemic and a lot of the things were restricted and access was limited, I did not experience the sporting culture and the sports clubs so much because of the restrictions that were imposed all of last year and the year before last. But I did experience having to work at the Olympic Games, which was one of the highlights of my stay and for many of my classmates out here. And I did get to experience different sports, so one of which was Japan's favorite pastime, baseball, very similar to cricket again. It was very nice of the Japanese people to exchange information with me between the transferable skills between cricket and baseball. And it's very nice to see some of the baseball talent from Japan also taking an interest in taking up cricket as well.
Tamoy, it's a wonderful answer. It's great to hear you smashed again.
Oh, that's beautifully timed, isn't it?
I think that's just going to be one bounce 4.
And all of the doubts and apprehensions that we had about the pitch playing too paced have been
dispelled.
Completely
6 runs
dispelled.
given.
6 runs given by umpire Chris Thurgate, and there's been a boundary rush in this game already.
Just as I said, they weren't getting too many boundaries. It's all changed again. Suddenly 2 in this over. But yes, Tamoy, I was just saying that he's gone big again. That might not carry. Oh, the field is not on the boundary, and it's dropped over his head and 1 bounce for 4.
This is the second time that we have seen the Indonesian fielders not fielding out into the ropes and standing just about 15 or 10 meters into.
It's a big boundary, I'll give him that, but at the same time, you're going to more likely to catch the ball if you're on the rope, aren't you?
Yes, the batters are timing the ball rather well right from the start of this innings, and it's rather premature of the Indonesian fielders.
100 up as well.
Into the
10th over. And that's very clever batting. He's just dropped it and run through for a single. So not getting too carried away, not getting too excited after a couple of hits to the boundary. Yamamoto Lake's moving along rather nicely as well. Now, Tamoy, I was just saying, wonderful to hear about your experiences at Scuba and embracing the culture in Japan and all of those things. However, that wasn't the answer I was looking for, so we'll try it again. What was the highlight of your time at Scuba University?
I think discovering cricket.
You mean your internship with the JCA?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Time working with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolute highlight. Forget the Olympics, forget the culture, forget baseball.
The Olympics come second to cricket, of course, in all aspects for us here in Sano. I discovered cricket, of course, shortly after I made my way into Japan. And I did start my journey here in Japan playing for the Chiba Sharks. And happily enough, the JCA came calling for internships at the university.
Yeah, myself and Dougal gave a little presentation, didn't we?
Yes. And it was a no-brainer for me to be involved in cricket in Japan and to be able to help in however way I could. It was excellent to see. It's one of the few sport organizations in Japan which are as multicultural as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. The Japan cricket community is generally a pretty. It's diverse, of course, but it's a pretty friendly environment to come into.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been very welcoming to be here. And
he's gone big again. That's gone a bit higher. There's going to be 2 men coming in underneath it. Are they looking at each other?
It's been put down.
It's grassed. Well, I was a bit concerned. They were disappearing behind the sight screen just in front of us, and it looked like there might be a collision there. Kadawaki Fleming looking to go big again. 2 guys both looking at the ball.
Yeah, number 44 there. Ramamurthy making a hash of those things.
That's the second life Kadawaki Fleming's had, isn't it?
Yes.
And now You know, he will make you pay. If you keep dropping him, Kendall will cash in. Oh, there he is, straight again.
And he's
what do you
cleared
think?
that boundary pretty comfortably.
And that is a half century for Kendall Kadawaki Fleming. He becomes the first Japanese player to register an official T20 international half century. Give him a little clap.
Of 26 balls, no less, has been rapid
26
by
balls,
Kadawaki
half
Fleming.
century.
He's made it count.
Let's get the
the captain
stats, shall we?
leading from the front here. He's had a few sixes here in this innings, hasn't he?
5 fours, 3 sixes. Oh, he's just nicked one behind as well. Is that a life? I'm not sure if it carried to the keeper, but
The ball has trickled over the ropes.
it's
For
4 more.
another boundary.
And for Indonesia, when it's not your day, is it?
Just to remind the viewers that we did have a short little break between in the half hour in the half time.
Yes,
of the
yesterday
game
there was a
yesterday.
2.5 minute gap at the 10 over mark. We've done away
Yes.
with that today.
We have done away with that today, of course, with the restrictions and the restricted overs, trying to make most of the time. We did have a little bit of darkness come over towards the end of the game yesterday, trying to make the most of the light available today.
That's well
Nicely
struck
clipped
again.
down
There's
his
that
legs.
fielder's coming around. He'll cut that off with a wide, long on. Hit the
Another
stumps.
direct hit.
First one of the day.
Where have we seen that before?
Yeah, Troy Fry is pretty happy that we got rid of the strategic timeouts. Something that was written into the playing conditions, and I think the umpires just wanted to give it a go yesterday, but quickly dispensed with. The chap called Keanu in the comments who's doing some stuff in Europe. Tell us about that, Keanu. I'm not quite sure what you're up to over there. I know there's plenty going on in Europe. Europe's got so many members. Because it's so easy for them to play each other. They can just hop in a car and drive an hour and get a game on. It's a bit more challenging for the islands in the Pacific. Half an appeal there, but nothing given.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always... Europe is the envy of the rest of the regions, I think.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, they only get 2 spots. They don't get too many extra spots because they've got so many countries. So, it must be dog eat dog up there, I think.
Absolutely, but and very good example of the island countries here, Japan and Indonesia, having playing each other. Of course, not very easy to make the trip out here. Indonesia also just having made their way only day before yesterday, 2 days ago,
it's
and
about 8 hours, and it's expensive, and it's something that gets discussed a bit on the Emerging Cricket podcast I'm aware of, with Tim Cutler being out in Vanuatu. He talks about how you kind of, when you're not in the Pacific, you kind of assume that they can all fly to each other very cheaply and easily, but that's not the case. Even
absolutely
those teams, Vanuatu, PNG, Fiji, Samoa, it's expensive to fly between them, so it's hard for those guys to get games, and we suffer from the same problem. And of course, it's expensive for people to come to Japan too.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are grateful to Indonesia for making the effort to be here.
I would also like to give a shout out to Alan Kerr, who has an excellent podcast about Japan cricket on a weekly basis, don't you?
Oh goodness, not that anymore. I tried doing it weekly last year. It was far too much work.
Excellent content out there, mate.
Thanks.
Having different aspects of Japan cricket being discussed on a pretty regular basis, and not just Japan but associates cricket as well from time to time.
Yeah, I'm trying to go twice a month this year. That may come down again next year as well, but we do when there's events on, we'll do a bit more regularly. We had I always say we, I don't know why I say we, because it is just me, but I got Dougal Bedingfield on last week, and we did a quick preview of this series and the upcoming tournament.
Yes.
I'll probably do something between now and the tournament just to wrap up this series. Maybe get Kendall back on to chat about this. But the Japan Cricket Podcast, do come along, have a listen. The more listeners I get, the more I can be motivated to keep doing it.
Absolutely, which is why it's a nice shout out to the YouTube viewers out here to tune in to Japan Cricket Podcast, available on
there's 6
different
more
platforms.
I mean, it's so dismissive, and he hit it so cleanly it barely made a noise. We hardly even noticed it.
No, it was sweetly timed.
Too busy waxing lyrical about my podcast. he's pulled it from outside off stump. It's gone wide of long on for 6. So,
and it was pretty flat. It didn't really
never really got up, did
have
it?
a lot of leverage, did it?
Keanu spent some time in the Cook Islands. Interesting. Yeah, the Cook Islands went really well in their recent tournament. We had the Cook Islands over here a few years ago in the women's comp.
Yes, we did. Pushes it wider, the leg spinner this time. Arthawan there coming in from the far end. And Kadawaki Fleming has really motored along, hasn't he? Yamamoto Lake, not to be outdone, of course, but he is facing an uphill battle trying to keep up with Yamamoto Lake's incredible strike rate here.
Yeah, to be fair, Yamamoto Lake's going at 39 off 28, and he's kind of gliding under the radar. I haven't really noticed him. Kadawaki Fleming is hitting the ball so cleanly and so powerfully that he's on 67 now from 31. The rate is almost up at 11. I mentioned on comms yesterday that Kendall's record in Japan is, in this season, he has 500 runs under his belt in domestic cricket in Australia already. And actually his record in Japan, he scored something like 600 runs in domestic cricket in Japan in 5 matches at a strike rate of something like 150. So
incredible record.
There you go. Looking for a switch hit there is Yamamoto Lake, but didn't quite nail that one, but that shows the unorthodox skills that he has, which we talked about before. He's looking to get those shots out.
Absolutely. Two very contrasting batsmen out there in the middle, complementing each other rather well. Of course, Japan bats deep, and most of the batters are still waiting in the wings to have a hit out in the middle. Not the way with these two gentlemen are going. Are they going to get an opportunity anytime soon?
Should mention 100 partnerships up as well. This partnership's now worth 109, I think. Yeah, 109.
That's come at a very quick clip.
Yeah, it's fair going in T20 cricket. I know there's some batsmen in the hutch who are keen to get out there, but they might not get a go at this rate.
Yes, Vinay Iyer, the debutant, still waiting.
It's hit to long on, be a single.
Yes, Indonesia lacking that intent with the ball today. Of course, not missing the services of their main fast bowler.
Yes, pick a bowler yesterday. Koda not featured, and we haven't seen much spin either.
No, we haven't.
One over of spin we did see got absolutely mauled.
Yes, the leg spinner here is trying to make amends. Arthawan, the number 0 from yesterday as well. Down the track once again, Kadawaki Fleming, the batsman, running back for a second run.
Bit of chat about T10 in the YouTube comments. What are your thoughts on T10, Tamway?
I think T10 cricket should best be restricted to club levels.
And perhaps the beach?
Absolutely.
My thing about T10 cricket, and I've discussed this on my podcast.
It's a great hit. It's a great laugh.
Look, it's all, I mean, yeah, I'm all for that. But my thing about cricket is that cricket is a game that's unique in that it gives you so much time off the field with your mates.
Yes.
And your teammates. You get to know your teammates, which is important, and your friendships when you're playing at club level. And the shorter the game, the more you lose that.
Yeah.
You're taking away something that the game has that's a unique selling point. And 20 overs is pretty short, but I appreciate people have got busy lives these days, and T20 cricket is the vehicle the ICC are using to spread the game. Yeah. But at T10, let's just use it for tournaments and play as many games as you can in a day. But I don't think you use it for international or, dare I say it, like serious cricket. It's
I think to promote the game in Japan, in a place like Japan where cricket is not really well known all over the country, it's a great tool to promote it in the schools and colleges and educational institutions otherwise, and of course having a great laugh out there.
Bit of a slower ball bouncer there, I think. Sorry, just to cut you off.
No worries.
Bit of a wild swing that went nowhere.
It did bounce up as a conventional bouncer there. Just to get back to use another sporting analogy, you wouldn't like to watch a one-set tennis game, would you?
No, exactly. They tried that once.
Yeah.
And people do say to me, cricket's too long and blah, blah, blah. But, no one minds watching a 5-hour tennis match.
Not at all. Not at all. It's the pinnacle of that particular sport, and cricket is no different. People
laugh when they hear that Test cricket goes for 5 days, and it's like, well, golf majors are 4 days. Exactly. No one seems to think that's too long.
Not at all. Not at all.
You do get rid of half the players after 2 days, though. Maybe we could do that in Test cricket. Just get rid of half the team and play 6-a-side for the last 2 days.
Exactly.
But yeah, Japan motion on another misfield, and that's extra runs. And for Indonesia, this...
eager to get a run out going and misses the ball completely.
Yeah, for Indonesia, things have not gone according to plan so far. They were here early. They were here at 10:30 today and looking to try their best to really respond after what was a pretty heavy defeat yesterday. It was only 65 runs margin in the end, but they were 13 for 5 at the end of the power play, and the game was really over by that point. Well, there's an appeal.
There's an appeal for a run out.
It's not given. Umpire Newman's taken a long time to look at it, but Kadawaki Fleming was back in his crease. He put a bit of a dive in. I think he just got back. The Indonesians were pretty confident. The umpire gave a good hard stare at it.
The bowler
but safe in the end. I'm sure Kendall Kadawaki Fleming's heart would have been in his mouth. Getting run out of the non-striker's end off a deflection on 70. That'll leave you a bit sore, wouldn't it?
The bowler Ramamurthy there, Budiartha rather, the one that's come in to replace Koda. And he did get a handsome bit of hand onto the wickets as the ball went into the taking off the bails, but the batsman was in at the non-strikers.
Big hit. It's going to be in the air. It's going to be down long on's throat.
It's a good effort, but...
He's tried to parry it up to keep it out, but it is 6 more.
Ball has cleared the boundary.
Kadawaki Fleming continues. He's chancing his arm for sure, and he knows now, at this point, with only 6 and a bit overs to go, he can take risks. He's been taking risks throughout, but when it's coming off, it's coming off. So for him to keep going, as Troy Fry is saying, a kind of freak run out might be the only way to get rid of Kadawaki Fleming at this rate.
Gede Agus Priyandana there at long off, who made that effort, tried to parry the ball back in, but it just clipped his fingers and still went over the ropes.
I had a question from Keanu, who's asking us about our relationship with the governing national government. Well, the national government put in a lot of money to get this ground built, and we have terrific relationships with local governments. Japan Cricket Association's strategy for the last 10 years really has been to build partnerships with local cities. You know, we're a small organisation with only 10, 12 staff members. We can't spread the game to the whole of Japan all in one go, so target certain areas. We have cities of cricket, we call them, and Sano was the first, which is why we've got 6 grounds here with 3 more coming along for next season. There's another city of cricket in Sanmu, in Chiba, in Akishima, in Western Tokyo, in Kaizuka, in Kansai, and most recently in Watari and Sendai. So all those places are looking to have grounds and put cricket in schools and bring through kids. And it's been a very productive way of spreading the game, and local governments, they vary in their support in different regions. Some are great at getting us access to schools, some are great at getting us facilities, and hopefully they'll all be joining in and doing all of those things, and we can take the game to more and more people.
Absolutely, and university cricket becomes critical to keep producing new talents coming up through the ranks and increase the number of club teams taking part in the local competitions. The batsman scampering home for a 2 there. A very sharp running between wickets between these two, Kadawaki Fleming and Yamamoto Lake. They've shown good alertness and awareness to the game being played.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, and it's not just been all boundary hitting, has it? It's been excellent activity rate, running between the wickets, a real lack of dot balls, not letting the guys settle.
Yes, both of them coming with experience playing in Australia, and seems like the street smartness of Australian cricket has really trickled into their game awareness. Of course, the head coach, Dougal Bedingfield, also hails from Australia.
Although he's been here so long, he's practically Japanese now.
Absolutely.
He and I arrived around the same time, coming up to 9 years. But Dougal had done 4 years before that too. Now, was that a chance, do you think, Tamoy?
Well, it was hit hard. The bowler did do well to put one hand around it, but I guess would have taken his hand off clean.
He's got a couple of hands. I think that's a pretty decent opportunity, that one, in the end.
It was.
It's hit hard.
It was hit hard.
His fingers seem okay, but You know, it's one of those you see at the top level.
Yes, they stick or they don't they? We've had some terrific catches taken around the JCL competition over this season.
Yeah, it's been a really tight contest in the JCL to get to the semis. That's all been decided now. I think Men in Blue snatching the last finals place.
Absolutely.
I don't like to gloat, but I did call that in the start of season predictions.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I also called Max to finish top, and they finished second bottom. So I got to stay humble.
It balances itself out, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Predictions.
It's a fool's game predicting the JCL. It's such an unpredictable competition, but I don't think anyone would have seen Max Cricket Club finishing 11th out of 12 after never missing semi-finals. Now that's up in the air. The man underneath it again, and this time
it has been taken.
The catch is taken. So that's the end of Kadawaki Fleming's knock. An outstanding innings. He's gone for 81 from just 40 balls. Catch taken at long on. He's been hitting over the top of the heads of the guys down there most of the afternoon. He looks a bit frustrated with himself, but I think once he sits down and has a think, he'll be pretty happy with his morning's work. It's, some people might say, an opportunity for 100 gone begging, but at the end of the day, he's set up his team in a fantastic position to get a second win in as many days and to wrap up this series.
Absolutely. He's set up the game beautifully, hasn't it? Kadawaki Fleming took the game head on, took the charge with the bat, hit excellent shots all around the park, and just one too many in this case.
I think that's a partnership of 128 from 67 deliveries.
Excellent.
Maybe 68
excellent
deliveries.
Work rate by both the batsmen.
Yeah, it's been extraordinary watching. Great viewing. I mean, you have to remember that Yamamoto Lake opened and Kendall came in at 3.
Yes.
and he scored 81 of that partnership.
Yes,
so.
Having the lion's share of the runs in that partnership, of course.
So Sabarish Ravichandran's coming next. So let's see. He's going to have license to tee off here.
Yes, Ravichandran, the highest scorer from yesterday's game. Japan has comfortably crossed its total from yesterday already, and we still have about 5 overs to go after this.
Now, I'll tell you what we just saw, Tamoy. We just saw something that might possibly be a first in international cricket. It probably isn't. I haven't watched any cricket since the 1st of October, apart from Japanese. But we just saw the batsman cross.
Yes.
I keep saying batsman. The batter's cross.
Yes.
As the ball's in the air, but the new batter still took the strike. So
yes.
One of the new conditions. I think that's the first time we've seen it in Japan. We haven't been using those conditions because you don't change the playing conditions mid-competition. But we didn't see it yesterday.
No.
All the wickets were bowled yesterday. People kept missing straight ones. But today,
precisely.
Finally seen a catch in the deep. And the batter's crossing, but then recrossing to allow the new batter to take strike. Ravichandran then took a single off the last ball of that over. A good over from Artawan. Just 5 from it and the all-important wicket.
Flayed through the offside by Ravichandran. The ball is going to slow down thanks to the slow outfield, but the fielder has made a meal of it once again.
Yeah, tough. He looked like he'd pulled it back, and then his shoulder just carried it over the boundary, I think.
Yes, the tumbling effort
he's
finally.
Chased it all the way there.
He did get his caught up.
He's pulled it back and it's hit his foot and gone back over the rope.
His knees did get stuck on the wet surface over there, didn't they?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the lad, but
not one
decent
of those,
effort.
Not one of those outfields where you can slide in.
Easily. He needed the Klinsmann Superman dive, didn't he?
Nicely driven into the offside once more by Sabarish.
There'll be 2 there if they turn quickly. They will.
The 2 taken off the hands. 150 up for Japan already, with another 3 and so overs to go. We do have a restricted game today, 19 overs.
Yeah, 19 over match. Lucky to only lose the 1 over, given the amount of rain there was this morning and how much the clouds have been. We sit right at the foot of a few big hills, and the mist just sort of coming over the hills and falling down into the ground really did make it a bit eerie this morning, wasn't it, at times?
Yes. Very Table Mountain-like. Half-hearted appeal there, but the batsmen have crossed over for another 1. good day with the bat for Japan already. Tadawaki Fleming, of course, leading the charge with 81. Yamamoto Lake still going strong at 44.
That misfield brought up the 150 for Japan. So these guys will look to take this on and maybe push up towards 200. And that'll be the target now. Someone asked earlier on comms what the record score for Japan was in the T20 game. I have absolutely no idea, but I'm pretty confident.
We'll have to look that up on that one. Yep.
Yamamoto Lake, that's the keeper running all the way to the boundary in his pads.
Yes.
Good on him.
Yamamoto Lake showing his inventiveness once again, trying to paddle that over the wicketkeeper's head. And there was nobody out there leaving the wicketkeeper to chase it down right up to the boundary.
Yeah. Goes
once
again.
More. It's been
There's a bit more bat on it that time. And that will be 4 runs. And that will be his half century.
Second half century in the game for Japan. Applause all around from the comm box as well.
Yeah, happy for the lad. I think he's felt a bit of pressure. Everyone talking him up as this quality batter, and you know, you've got to come and deliver. He scored a few runs in the Futures League and the JPL, but doing it in the Japan shirt for the first time will give him so much confidence. It's a half century from 36 deliveries, 5 fours, 1 6 for Lachlan Yamamoto Lake. Hopefully it's the first of many.
Yes, was dismissed early yesterday, but he seems to have got the hang of international cricket right here.
Yeah, 3 off 10 yesterday, just never quite got going. Found it quite hard to get in. He's carved that over extra cover. That's going to beat all the fielders.
That's the hallmark of Ravichandran,
isn't it? Yeah, Sabaris Ravichandran. That is his go-to shot.
Absolutely.
Plays it so well.
The extra cover. He's going to make a lot of international cricketers proud of that particular shot.
Yeah, bisected the fielders almost exactly. Yeah, the runs keep coming, don't they?
Yes, Sarthawan, the leg spinner, trying to fly the ball even now, not afraid to do that. But the batters are comfortable with the scoreboard ticking along very nicely.
We talked yesterday, Tamoy, about how difficult it was to get in. But once you were in, it was okay to go. Well, today that hasn't been the case, has it?
Chandran has taken the aerial route, and it's probably fallen just short of the fielder there.
I think he might have got a hand on that, but it was a difficult chance running round. Sabaris hits to that area a bit. He was doing it yesterday. He really gets it behind square. Yeah, I think he's got there, but difficult chance.
Yes, Indonesia
saved the boundary.
Hasn't caught well today, Indonesia, have they?
No, they haven't. They was pretty good yesterday, but today, I think that's what, 3 or 4 chances we've seen go down?
Yes. And he's bowled him.
So that round his legs.
Played and missed Ravichandran there.
So a cameo, really, very similar to the innings we saw from Super Navaratna. He's 15 off 8, it's exactly the same. Sabaris has come in very much with a job to do of just score quickly.
Yes, just about 3.5 overs to go.
No issues with that dismissal, I don't think. Done the job that he was sent out to do. Be very interesting to see who comes in next. Whether Vinay Iyer will get a hit on his debut, or I think that looks like Shogo Kimura to me. We're at completely the wrong end of the ground to be able to tell who the new batter is, but I think the left-hander. What do you think?
Looks like a left-hander walking in.
Can't see him on screen either. We're too far away. Need the camera to pan round.
Yes, from the looks of it, it does.
It looks like Shogo.
Appears to be Shogo Kimura walking in.
What number has he got on the back of his shirt? Look like 66?
Number 66 indeed.
Yeah. The big show. Here he is. We've been talking him up. His outstanding 100 on the first weekend of the Japan Cricket League season. And a 30 run over and a T10 comp earlier in the summer. Someone who can hit big and hits big regularly.
Yes.
If he lines up a bowler, he won't be afraid of just going after them every ball. And if you're in his arc, the ball will fly. So, building him up a little bit here. He's in the 14 for the World Cup qualifier. He's had to work hard to get himself back in that 14. And Shogo's into his 40s. He's older than me,
yes,
I think.
He's the oldest cricketer on the team today.
Yeah, he's a player who's, as I said, he's had to work hard. He was left out of the squad a year ago. And plenty of people thought that was him done. But he's a player who really kept going. He stuck to it. He didn't let being left out of the squad, break him, which other people at his age they might have done. He came back and he scored big runs. And he's earned his place in the squad through weight of scoring, and I think that's a real testament to him, actually. And he's scored hundreds now in T20 and 40 over cricket.
Yes, and also former professional Japanese baseball player. Used to play for the Saitama Seibu Lions, and which also explains a later entry into cricket.
Yeah, Seibu Lions, Hiroshima Carp. I think he did 8 years.
Also Hiroshima Carp,
and
absolutely.
he played, I think, at the Bay Stars as well, maybe. But he
perhaps.
was a player who did 15 years in Japan baseball.
In the NPB.
And he switched to cricket as a 35-year-old.
And that's been put down once again.
Oh, goodness.
Lachlan Yamamoto Lake getting one more life.
That's his first
there.
life, I think.
Not if you discount the catches that, the fielders were too in for.
Yes,
course.
there were those. Yeah, so Shogo, we're talking about he's an old man at the age of 42, but he's still a young cricketer.
Yes, absolutely.
Just sort of 5-6 years old as a cricketer, and for a guy to have adjusted to, people talk about baseball and the transferable skills, and yes, there's hand-eye.
Absolutely.
But the technique is completely different.
No, completely different. Also, the bouncing ball.
Indeed.
Completely different.
And it's taken him a while to hone his own skill set and to really groove his hitting arc. But
yes.
if you bowl in that arc,
it's going to disappear.
You're in trouble. And he won't be perturbed by these big boundaries.
It'll be very interesting to see how he goes on against Danielson Havo coming in for his final spell.
3 overs to go, 168 for 3, Japan. They'll be eyeing 200. It's a big ask, but they're scoring at 10.5 and over. So they're on track to reach that target. And that will be quite a mountain for the Indonesian batters, I think. Well, just dabbed.
Kimura, of course.
Yamamoto Lake quickly down the other end.
Kimura, of course, has a unique batting stance, not very conventional as compared to some of the more traditional cricket players.
Yeah, and that speaks very much to a guy who came to the game late with a different skill set. But
absolutely,
whatever works, eh?
Absolutely, all about embracing different techniques and different skills.
Lachlan Yamamoto Lake's done really well to keep his head throughout this innings. He's been starved of the strike a little bit. He's switch hitting, and he's hit it straight to the fielder.
Short
there's the arms out. It's a no ball called
for height. The ball seemed to be over the waist height for Yamamoto Lake.
Yeah, it was called by the standing umpire and not square leg, I don't think, but certainly it was over waist height. Perhaps that's why Lockie went through with that shot.
Free hit once more.
Free hit. Let's see how he goes here. Carved that. It's going to fly over mid-wicket's head.
He's finally hit that out of the screws.
He's really nailed that. It's into the ditch down by the river. Yeah, ball's been recovered. I don't have to get on the blower to the guys with the spare balls. But 6 runs off the free hit.
That's the first one that we saw after the 3 free hits yesterday went a begging.
So many free hits went with dots yesterday. But just saying, Yamamoto Lake's been starved of the strike a little bit. He's been in the entire innings. He's only faced 40 deliveries, but he's done well not to get to... goodness, someone's gone through him. So it's so easy when you see a guy at the other end batting the way that Kendall Kadawaki Fleming was to try and overhit it yourself when you get a chance to finally bat, but he's been very calm in his own little bubble and has gone about his business brilliantly. He's 56 or 40, playing a bit of a support role, but still motoring along at a hefty strike rate. And now is his chance to chance his arm and get that score up as we look for these last few overs. It's a similar shot. It's going to go to the fielder, and he's dropped it again.
I wonder what the fielder was doing there, because he almost had made up his mind to parry it back into the field rather than taking the catch.
He was a good couple of feet inside from the boundary rope. He didn't need to be worried about the rope at all.
Yes.
It's funny, we were really impressed with their fielding yesterday, weren't we? And today, honestly...
They seem to have lost their mark a little bit.
Yeah, it's been way short. It is gloomy out there, I'll give them that. But, it's 3 p.m. It's not that dark.
Yes, it's all right. The visibility is not really an issue today.
It's fine today. At this point, it's going to get dark soon for sure, but you can't excuse those drop catches. This many of them.
That's,
That's a great dive.
Excellent dive put in by a Yamamoto.
Fantastic dive from Yamamoto Lake. Getting a good bit of coverage. It was wide outside off stump, and Kimura dragged it across into the leg side.
Yes, we've had plenty of drop chances by Indonesia in the field today. Just a little out of touch. They look like haven't really had the best of times out on the field today as compared to yesterday, where they were hitting the target from as far as long on and long off as well. Has bowled him.
Well,
Kimura there.
Brief stay. Big swing.
Not being able to make the most of that last delivery.
Yeah, he did go out there with a job to do, didn't he? But always going to be a challenge.
Japan have ended up with a handsome 179 for the loss of 4 wickets in their 19 overs.
It's a big score, isn't it? 17 overs in the end. So we've been talking all innings. They've got 19 overs.
We've had another restriction.
Sorry, that's entirely my fault.
The 17 overs game. Our apologies from the comm box.
Selling everyone the dummy, giving you all the wrong information. It was going to be 19 overs, but the boys have factored in, the umpires factored in the light.
Absolutely.
And so they took off another 2 overs from each innings.
Absolutely.
To end us at 17 overs. So, yeah, 17 overs aside. Does explain some of the.
We'll probably also have.
179 for 4 is a terrific effort, though.
We'll also have probably Japan using a lot of their spin bowlers this time to get the over rate taking along as quickly as possible, get over through their allotted number of overs.
No, I think it's just going to be a 10-minute break, Tamoy.
Yes,
so you and I can have a little rest.
Absolutely.
And we will be back probably around 3:30 Japan time to pick up this run chase and see how Indonesia go. Welcome back to the second T20 International between Japan and Indonesia from the Sano International Cricket Ground. The 17-over contest after a reduction at the start of play due to some rain, some wetness on the pitch and a bit of bad light coming along. Got Alan Kerr from the Japan Cricket Association, and along with me, Tanmoy Mukherjee. Hi, Tanmoy, welcome back. Good lunch break?
Good lunch break, short lunch break, but
short lunch break that didn't involve any lunch.
Yes, exactly. And 179 for 4 for Japan from their 17 overs. Excellent returns. Excellent performance by Kadawaki Fleming, the captain, leading from the front.
81 off 40, and Lachlan Yamamoto Lake with 57 all out. Yeah,
absolutely
stuff, wasn't it?
And turn for the bowlers to shine.
Kohei Kubota with a new ball in hand. Bowled a couple of overs yesterday. Went wicketless, but bowled pretty well. He'll come in and look to hit the deck hard and try and hurry up some of these Indonesian batters.
Yes, Alex Shirai Patmore, of course, not playing this game, which means Supun Navratna has taken the gloves.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure whose gloves he's got. I had a message from Alex last night saying, Supun wants to borrow my gloves. I'd rather he didn't, but I'll give them to him if I have to.
As long as they fit.
I'm not sure they fit.
He's
bowled him. It's the first international wicket for Kohei Kubota. It's been a long time coming. He's been a star of the Japan domestic scene for several years. Bowler of the year in the JCL, bowler of the year in the Japan Premier League. And now he's gone straight through Indonesia's opener. Stumps are down.
Budiartha, the replacement.
Budiartha, the new man.
Not made much...
Not troubled the scorers.
Not troubled the scorers at all. And Kubota with his first wicket. Excellent ball there. Just keeping a touch low. We were discussing at the break about the ball not having misbehaved as much as yesterday. But yeah, just a couple of spots probably in there on the pitch where it keeps a touch low.
People asking in the commentary. We're looking at the YouTube comments, so please do jump on and have a chat if you're in there. You can hashtag JPNVIDN as well if you're on Twitter. Not that I've actually checked those yet, but I will do at some point. Asking about domestic cricket in Japan. Well, we have the Japan Cricket League T20 competition, which ran through August. That was 16 teams, 4 groups of 4, quarterfinals, semi-finals, final. We have the Japan Cup, which was played through around 68 teams, I think, this year in the Japan Cup. And the Japan Cricket League, which is a 3-division, 40-over competition. Kubota against in the air. Points, that's Lachlan Yamamoto Lake going for the catch in the gully. Squirmed through him. And they come back for a couple. But yes, 32 teams, I think, in the Japan Cricket League this year, playing across the 3 divisions. And there's the Japan Premier League, which is the T20 comp that is comprised of the best players from each of the Japan Cup regions. 5 of the 7 regions qualify to have a Japan Premier League team. And that's played over a 3-day weekend in April, May. Oh, that's beaten them. So yeah, lots of domestic cricket. Tanmoy, you've played a fair bit. Your team, the Chiba Sharks, champions a year ago. Not so champion this year, although you did make the T20 finals day and made it all the way to the final before a thrilling match last weekend, actually, between the Chiba Sharks and the Paddy Foleys, which is available on the JCA YouTube channel.
Yes, unfortunate to have missed out on another championship this time in the T20 competition. Of course, did not go as well as we did last year in the Japan Cricket League Division 1, of course, becoming the national champions last year. Not going as well as we would have thought this time around, but excellent way Japan has created its cricket system. Throughout the 40-over and the 20-over competitions. We obviously do not have the longer formats, the 3-day comps and the 4-day comps, but the limited overs are up and running all around Japan in different parts of the country.
Yeah, plenty of cricket around. If you're living in Kanto or Kansai, it's pretty easy to find a cricket team these days. A few challenges in some of the outposts. We get a lot of requests from sort of Kyushu way. A lot of people around APU down in Beppu quite keen to play, and there's a bit of talk about trying to get another ground there.
We'll see if
that can come to pass. Ibrahim Takahashi has the ball in hand, often takes the first over, but decided to wants the ball from this end, I guess, today.
Yes, Takahashi did take the first over yesterday as well, but comes in from the other end for the second. The ball, a little bit of air. Just dropped short of the fielder there, Ravichandran, who did make a nice effort to get to the ball, but eventually falling short. The Indonesian batter is, of course, looking to score a little more heavily and showing a little more intent. They're chasing 180 after all in just the 17 overs allotted today.
Yeah, difficult for them yesterday. They had a really tough power play. That's chipped and that's caught.
Chipped it straight to short cover there.
That looks like Leo Sakurano Thomas with the catch.
As the vice captain holds on to the catch, which was not a regular feature for Indonesia, who dropped a lot of chances. But the second wicket down for Indonesia, and already what is the second over.
You might be able to hear the walkie-talkie behind us. We're lucky to have a direct route to the umpires out here.
Tadaris, the batsman, dismissed. He also had a bit of a bowl yesterday. Didn't really see him this time. But two back in the shed for Indonesia, chasing an uphill battle already. Takahashi already coming in. Wickets from both ends.
He nearly struck in his first over yesterday, didn't he? But he had a catch put down in a very similar position, but on the other side of the wicket, and then a run out.
Yes.
He did get his maiden wicket later in the game, and he's in amongst it this time already. So fantastic stuff from Ibi Takahashi. He will be delighted, I'm sure.
Yes, Takahashi did not get a chance in the middle with the bat today, but looking to get as many wickets as he can. He is a very handy off-spinner, of course. Did give the ball a little bit of air the first time.
Yeah, and there was a chance in the ball before as well.
Yes.
Just fell short of Subhash Ravichandran charging in from long on. So asking questions, and that's just blocked.
Yes, he's decided to flight the ball a little more. There is a slip in place, of course, from what it looks to be is Vinay Iyer at first slip.
Yeah, real contrast between these two bowlers. Ibi Takahashi floating his off-spinners. Kohei Kubota running in looking to bowl quick.
Yes.
Kubota, probably the quickest bowler in Japan, or he's certainly one of them. He's pretty tall.
Yes, looks to use his height quite often. Of course, the pitch is not very conducive to the short of length balls that will rise up to the chest or to the throat. It's a little more air, clipped nicely down to the leg side. Ravichandran doing the cleaning up, and the batsman coming back for the two. You already have a change of bowler from the far end with Sakurano Thomas taking the ball. Number 6 shirt. He did have his maiden 5-wicket haul yesterday, turning in 5 for 17. Brilliant figures there.
Yeah, it was 5 for 11 for the last ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, just clubbed for 6 on the last ball of the innings.
Just to bring him back down to earth. But Leo Sakurano Thomas has the ball in hand, and he will be looking to add to the tally he picked up yesterday, and he's coming in now with 2 wickets down already, 6 for 2 after 2 overs, and bowling from the other end today. Now it's in the air. Oh, well, we saw one of those in the first over as well.
It was nicely timed.
Again,
but
it's the same fielder, Lachlan Yamamoto Lake. It's to him, but it's falling just in front of him, and they've gone through for a couple in the end.
Yes, 2 for the batsman there.
Fielder had a bit of a chase, bit of work to do. So yeah, Rail Sakurano Thomas was the MVP into yesterday's game. Didn't get the bat today, so he'll want to make the most of his opportunity with the ball. If you're not doing so already, do follow us on... beauty.
Plays in a miss.
This is what you saw him doing yesterday as well, just that hint of swing, enough to go past the outside edge. Yeah, do follow us, the JCA, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any further broadcasts. We always want to welcome new fans from wherever you are.
Beautiful bowling action there, Sakurano Thomas.
Yeah, he's made a big impression since arriving in Japan, hasn't he? And that's in the air, that's going to go over the top. Might even go for 4. It's
just stopped short.
Wet outfield.
It's a good throw there by Takahashi. Yes, a little more intent from the Indonesian batters this time, I should say.
Oh,
that has taken off.
That's a gem, isn't it? 2 slips in now. Sakurano Thomas has just, he's missed everything in the end, but squared the batter up. Didn't know whether he was coming or going.
So we have Sabarish Ravichandran at first slip and Kadawafi Fleming himself coming on at second.
Oh.
And that one just crawling along the grass there.
Yeah, that one didn't get up at all. We haven't seen too many keep low today, but that one did.
Always asking questions, Sakurano Thomas. Using the lengths really well here. Not putting the ball into the batter's half for the batter to clear the infield.
Yeah, we've got a third man and where's our other fielder outside the circle? Extra cover. That's up. It's going to go over his head.
Overpitched on this occasion.
May well run away again. No, the outfield is pretty soggy down there. That's the one area of the field that drains slower than the rest of the ground, I'd say. And the ball does seem to be sticking in it when it's hit down there, particularly if it go over the top. It just sort of plugs as it hits and trickles rather than races away to the right. So not much value for shots in that particular area, which will be frustrating for the Indonesian batters, I suspect.
Absolutely, which is why it was impressive all the more for Japan's batters to have scored as many boundaries as they did.
Yeah, those first few boundaries they hit, we saw them. It was the same thing, wasn't it? Just down the end near us, down near the tea room. The ball wasn't running away to the boundary, but they started going aerial.
Yes.
And once they got in, and their eyes were well and truly adjusted, the power they were hitting with, the outfield really didn't matter anymore.
They put a lot of power into their shots, didn't they? And I think that's what probably will be the difference between the batters, between the two teams here.
Takahashi's getting a second over. He's got a long on and a deep square leg. Bowls a lot in the power play, Ibi Takahashi, for Tamoy's club, the Chiba Sharks. So he's pretty used to this, and we didn't see him get a bat today, as you mentioned. He often opens the batting and the bowling.
Yes, he does. He does. He usually bats at number 4, comes in at number 4. But he does open the batting in the T20s.
Yeah, opens in the
He
T20.
likes to bat long, and that's the best place for a batter like Takahashi's mold to be batting, facing all the 20 overs. And of course, then does come back out and does the job with the ball as well.
Yeah, Japan team stocked with all-rounders. Kadawaki Fleming may even have a bowl today. There was some talk about that, I think I heard.
Conventional.
I'm not entirely sure he particularly wants to.
Conventional fields there for Takahashi. Pretty close in offside ring with two men out into the leg side.
It's going to be a bit cold in here, Tamoy.
It has, hasn't it? The dimming light, and yes, of course, the rain's not helping. It's chipped it just over the mid-off fielder, and the ball has enough legs this time to go over the boundary ropes. The first boundary coming in for the Indonesian batters.
2 debutants today, Vinay Iyer and Kento Otodobel, neither of whom got a bat, but I do wonder if we'll see Kento have a bowl at some point today. Hopefully the star of the Japan Under-19 World Cup campaign, really. graduating to full honours today.
Survey with that boundary earlier.
Plenty of people from Indonesia on the stream, which is great. Hello to you guys. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for supporting your own team. And thank you to your team for coming over early to play these games. Certainly everyone in Japan Cricket is very grateful to have them here.
Shy at the stumps, but...
come back. There might be... Oh, he not picked it up cleanly, but...
Run back for overthrows as well. Yeah, the fielders not backing up, allowing an extra run coming in for the batter.
Yeah, a few guys missing from the Indonesian lineup, from what I understand. A couple of guys asking about Muhadis. Afraid I can't answer why he's not here. He's not travelled, not in the travelling party, from what I can tell. I can tell you that Rogerio Maxi Coda was given a breather today. I'm fairly sure that's a rest, nothing else. He was fine yesterday. Bowled brilliantly. Now, here he is. Speak of the devil. Kento Otodobel has the ball in his hand. Represented Japan in the Under-19 World Cup qualifier and then went to South Africa with the World Cup team, getting his first bowl in international cricket. Starts with a bit of a loosener. Kento took a stunning caught and bowled, which does the rounds on the JCA socials from time to time in the match against Canada. Bats a little bit as well, but I suspect in this team he might not get too much of a chance.
That's taken off once more.
He'll be enjoying his return to the SICG. Holds happy memories for him, of course, from winning that qualifier in 2019. And with the Indonesians 18 for 2 into the 5th over. It's a slightly better start than yesterday, but already the required rate is edging towards 13.
Yes, similar to the result from yesterday, of course. A little more breather for the Indonesian batters. Not as many wickets down. But Japan have their tails up with plenty of runs on the board and, of course, making early inroads into the innings once again.
And Japan have left out a couple of their spinners. Makoto Taniyama given a rest today, Piyush Kumbhara as well.
Yes.
Nothing sinister in that, it's just a rest for those two guys. But it does mean a few more seamers in the attack, which may have an impact on the over rates and might come into play with the lights as well.
Might even get Ravichandran, of course, bowls leg spin, and he's going to definitely play a part very soon.
I suspect him and Ibi will bowl the most of their overs. So I think it's three bowlers can bowl 4 and 2 bowlers can bowl, no, that can't be right. It must be 3 bowlers bowling 4.
2 with 3.
2 with 3. No, that doesn't work. It has to be 2 bowlers bowling 4. And then you've got 9 overs between 3 others. Yeah. So 2 bowlers bowling 4, 3 bowlers bowling 3 overs in the 17 over game.
Misfield there by Takahashi at mid-off. Allows the batters to complete a second.
Just looking at the Indonesia bowlers. You know, they used 7 bowlers in the end. Only one of their bowlers bowled his full 4, and he went for 44. Mohamed Hafiz just bowled the 1 over, went for 18.
Not a good day for bowlers for Indonesia today.
Yeah, the best bowler, Agus Priyandana, who is out there with the bat now. Opened the batting and the bowling. He bowled 2 overs, 1 for 16. Artawan, the leg spinner, picked up a couple as well, 2 for 25. A few questions being asked by Kento Otodobel, bowling accurately enough after giving away a couple of wides. And in general, it's a decent over. I'm sure he'd like to scrub out the extras, but for the most part, they've struggled to get him away. And we talked about that in the break off air, didn't we, Tamoy? The Indonesians didn't really give that much away. There was one no ball and just 3 wides.
Yes, I think it was. They should be disappointed with their fielding effort today. They didn't take the catches that did come their way. That would have really allowed them to get one sniff in the game. But there you have a second boundary for Indonesia. A survey there, I think, clubbing that over cover region for a comfortable 4.
I know it's something the coaches talk about, this starting and finishing your overs well. So
Yes.
that will annoy Dougal Bedingfield.
Something
They've been a good over up until that point, just 1 run off the bat.
Something to think about for Ota Rubel. Looks like Takahashi is going to continue from the school end.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise.
We might have a change in the bowler. Yes.
I'd be surprised if he bowled his 3 overs.
Yes.
I suspect we'll see
Probably be.
Ravi Chandran coming on from
back.
this end.
Yes, we do have the leg spinner coming in all likelihood.
Neil Darte's joined the stream. Neil,
Hello, Neil.
welcome. Another teammate of yours. Another Under-19 World Cup star. Mentioned that game against Canada where Kento Otodobel took that fine one-handed caught and bowled. Neil scored a half-century in that game. Japan's first ever half-century of the World Cup.
Yes, a fine young player also coming through the Japan ranks, the youth system.
Yeah, he might be out there today if he wasn't living in Melbourne now, and
Absolutely.
made it a bit difficult for him to get involved with cricket. He's into his studies. Neil used to study his calculus on the bus to games in South Africa after he'd finished university. He just liked to keep sharp. Sabaras Ravichandran right on the money straight away, as you'd expect. Usually pretty accurate with these leg spinners.
Just the kind of statistician we need
It is.
around here, Alan, don't we?
They would stop me from getting these numbers wrong, wouldn't it, Dan? He would have known it was a 17-over game for the whole innings.
Absolutely.
Despite me being there at the toss when it was decided that it would be 17 overs,
He
I
might
still
have
got
just
stuck with 19 in my head the whole
I think he
innings.
might have just missed coming on to the streams to let us know of that.
Yeah, I think he would have done. It Neil's bowling and these kind of decks. Ooh,
pulled
it's a
away.
bit short.
It did bounce up a little higher
Yeah,
than
didn't do
than
much
usual.
good arm there. I think that's Sakurlan or Thomas
Yes.
on the mid-wicket boundary. So it's a shortened power play as well, of course. Just a 5-over power play, given the reduced overs in this match.
Yes, the field has been
So the
spread
field
out.
is now spread. Ravichandran's a funny one. He, for whatever reason, I don't think he likes bowling in the power play.
Hmm.
It often comes on
Yes, in
after
the middle
the
overs
field is
usually.
spread. Likes that bit of extra protection.
Nicely driven down the ground. Yes, you can see a towel out there with Vinay Iyer, who's using it to take the extra wetness out of the ball.
Yeah, it's just been
That could-
mist all around the ground all day.
Absolutely.
Which does just those
Just-
conditions just makes the ball a little bit hard to grip at times, I guess. And Sabaras likes to grip it pretty hard in his deliveries, so you need to keep that dry, keep the ball off the floor as much as possible.
Yes, particularly difficult for spinners to be gripping the ball.
Japan are racing through the overs as you'd expect. 1 ball left of this, and that's 6 overs gone now.
Nicely
That's a
driven
decent
into
shot.
the gap.
And now push for 2.
Good throw there.
Comfortable enough. Well, you say good throw there. That's the man
Shogo
with the baseball
Kimura.
background.
Absolutely.
Shogo Kimura, no surprise that
Yes,
that arm is
specializes
an impressive one.
in
15 years in the MPB. When you play baseball for that long, you'd expect you'd have a decent arm.
Yes, he was an infielder, wasn't he?
He was. Possibly means more to you than me. Tamoy, I've never quite been up on my baseball. I enjoy the odd game.
I've enjoyed watching this.
I'll watch it live, but watching it on TV doesn't really do it for me, I have to say.
Yes, it's a nice game to watch as well. Of course, a few similarities there with cricket. Nice pastime to watch. Similar times as well to a T20 game.
Yeah, exactly. Game of baseball will last 3 hours.
Yep.
So it's a game of T20. So again, the cricket's too long argument doesn't stand up.
Just eludes the fielder at short mid wicket there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit more intent from the batters today, isn't there? They're not being quite as stodgy as they were yesterday. They're still struggling to get these guys away, which is understandable. The bowling's been pretty good, but they are not batting as within themselves as they were yesterday, I think.
Yes, they've decided to take their chances a little more as compared to yesterday. We already had 4 or 5 wickets down in the power play overs. Slow ball, nicely played into the cover.
Yeah, I think from Indonesia's point of view, it's a bit like yesterday. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think with the required rate up at 14, this game is pretty much gone already.
Yes.
And so they'll be looking at what positives they can take from it. And they'll be thinking of, okay, maybe we can get, I don't know, up to 100, 120.
I think to start with, getting the run rate up to 6 and over, run a ball anywhere there and taking it to the 17 overs, and as many runs as they could get here will be a good outing for them, especially with another game to play tomorrow, and which will be an early start, hoping for better weather conditions.
Forecast better. It'll be bright and sunny tomorrow.
Yes.
Better be.
Kubota is back for his second over here.
He's just clipped off his pads, just trickles into the leg side and an easy single.
A good stop by the bowler himself. The tall fella, Kubota. Looks like Ravichandran is continuing from the school end with his leg spinners. It's 34 for 2 after the 6 overs. Of course, plenty of runs to get for Indonesia, but they've enjoyed a much better start to their innings as compared to yesterday. Japan looking to make more inroads into this Indonesian innings.
Decent noise amongst the boys in the field. That's something that came up in the team meeting yesterday. Guys who are making sure they keep that energy up even when the game does start to drift a little.
Yes, it's one of the challenges in cricket, isn't it, to be involved in the game, especially when you're not out there in one of the important positions, either with the bat or with the ball. For the fielders to remain involved and aware. Been driven down the ground around the offside. The batsmen have come back for 2. But yes, plenty of chirp there from the fielders, encouraging the bowlers to go through the motions.
Would you believe it, Tamoy? I've just had a message from Neil. And would you believe it? He is back in Japan. He
Welcome
arrived
back
in
to Japan,
Tokyo a
Neil.
couple of days ago, and perhaps we'll get the pleasure of seeing him next weekend.
Yes, hopefully we will have the presence of more international cricketers for Japan supporting us in the East Asia Pacific qualifiers being held from next week.
As far as Neil's concerned, he better be careful telling me that he's going to be around, because I'll give him jobs to do. Neil, I'll get you scoring for us, mate. Not even joking. No, it's great to see. Hopefully next tournament this series was arranged at fairly short notice, so we weren't able to promote it as much as we would like, and so spectators numbers have been what that you would normally get probably for a club game in Japan, but I'm hoping that for the international series we'll get plenty of people down to watch. Subarash Ravichandran continues. Hitesh Akbari's here.
Nicely played.
Hitesh is one of the regulars in the JCL Division 1. Very economical bowler. Not much of a season for his own club this year, but I think Hitesh can hold his head up high for his performances. Lucas Hosman mentioning Thailand. Thailand women, excellent cricket team. Certainly a side that we'd aspire to match their performances.
Absolutely, had an excellent result over the last week, didn't they?
They did, beat Pakistan.
Yep.
Revenge is a dish best served cold, I think, in that case.
Absolutely.
After what happened in the World Cup qualifier a year or so ago. Leo Sakulano Thomas got the ball back in hand again. Second over for him. Manoj Bardwaj is here as well. Yeah, and just speaking to Lucas in the comments, it's worth mentioning that, and had things been differently, this series would actually have been against Thailand. They were one of the teams we spoke to about coming over here. They showed an interest, a bit of an appeal, a bit high maybe. Thailand men's team, we were quite keen to get them over here. That's miles down leg side. Thailand men, we were quite keen to get them over here to have a look and see how we'd match up to the Thailand side. Not entirely sure, we play so little against teams from outside of our region that you don't really know how you're going to go against those guys. So something that we are looking to do, and hopeful that we might be able to organise some games against teams from outside of the East Asia Pacific region. Familiarity can breed contempt. That is a cracking shot. It's right between the two fielders. A bit of a collision. Well, they're both down.
And the ball seems to have...
I don't think there's anything too bad. I think they've just bumped into each other, but...
I'm not sure whether the ball has crossed the boundary or not.
I'm fairly sure the ball's crossed, but... the guys have both hit the ground.
It's a pretty heavy collision, must say.
I think Kento Otodobel was one of them. I saw number 31. I'm not sure who the other was.
We just did have some communication in the comms about whether it was a boundary or not. The other one seems to be Ibi Takahashi.
The boundary has been signalled.
Ibrahim Takahashi and... Sakurano Thomas.
No, it was Otodobel.
Otodobel.
I think both guys just pulled out before they collided. So they weren't quite travelling at full speed.
Wasn't full speed, yes.
I think they'll be all right. But this is something I talk about a lot when I see the boys doing their practicing fielding. Putting names on the ball. You got two guys shouting, mine, mine, mine. How do you know whose that is? Exactly. You might hearing yourself. Serial offender Munib Siddiq. I call him up on it every time I see him. But yes, that's the reason you don't do it.
Munib Siddiqui is watching the game as well from his home. Also one of Japan's talented individuals coming through the ranks.
Chris Payne jumping in on comms. We'll see Chris next week. He'll be doing some scoring for us during the EAP qualifier, which is exciting. One of our regular umpires as well. Couldn't be involved in this series because he was playing. I think I saw KB make 16 off 71 balls the other day, playing the anchor role. He talked about doing that on my podcast when we got him on, how he just likes to bore the opposition to death. .44 for 2 now, Indonesia. Much improved with the bat, at least, on yesterday's performance. Chipped, but no run. Landing safe. Kadawaki Fleming at mid-on, getting his hands on that. Again, squirted away into the leg side. Another single. Finishes that over. 46 for 2 after 9. So we're past the halfway mark. Required rate 16.5. I think that's all academic at this point, isn't
Absolutely. It? Absolutely. But yeah, a much better return already for the Indonesian batters. More wickets in the bag. An improved performance. They did finish their innings on
78 for 9.
78, I believe, yes.
They did bat the 20 overs.
They did bat out the 20 overs, just about. But hopefully a much improved performance with the bat this time.
The first appearance of the day for Declan Suzuki. He in the wrong shirt. You'll see he's got the name taped out on the back of his shirt because he had to borrow one of his teammates after leaving his at the hotel.
Yes, Makoto Taniyama not playing the game today. Is number 23 conventionally, with Suzuki taking over his jersey today.
Very similar kind of bowler to what we've seen already from that end.
Yes, medium pace from
run in
both ends.
It was interesting, the take of the wicket keepers. So yesterday we saw Alex Shulai Patmore standing up to Declan, didn't we? But
yes,
today Suparnaviratne's back.
He started out at least as being standing back. Declan Suzuki also sporting a very
spectacular mullet.
Absolutely.
And well presented moustache.
Yes, which is a very faint from this distance, of course.
Yeah, the mullet was a bit stronger back in April, May when he was here.
Yes,
during
absolutely.
the Japan Premier League and the Japan Futures League. Declan really was looking very much like Patrick Swayze at a point break. But a little trim. I think when he came back in July, the heat got a bit much for him.
Yes, the Japan summers are notoriously punishing, aren't they?
Chris Payne's asking if this is the full-strength Indonesia side. Well, KB, they've got 14 players to choose from. There are a couple of changes from yesterday's team. But for the most part, Rogerio Maxi Koda was the star of the show for them yesterday. He's not playing. He was their best bowler. But otherwise, I can't see them picking too much of a stronger side between now and the Indonesia.
They seem to have sacrificed a bowler for to strengthen their batting, but hasn't worked in their favour in this game. Nicely driven, straight to Takahashi.
Siddharth makes the point that the ICC should make cricket more popular in all countries. Well, I do agree, Siddharth, but at the same time, the associations have got to do some of the work themselves. You know, the ICC only do so much. The regional offices now are short on staff, really. They've taken the approach of reducing the number of staff on the ground that the ICC have, and they try to give more funds back to the members, which, makes sense. We all want some more money, I guess. Different countries, that money goes further. For us, living in Japan, the money doesn't go as far as it does maybe for, Nigeria or for Vanuatu or countries like that. But we have to squeeze everything we can, and at the same time, we try and generate our own income. So if you're watching this, you're liking what you're seeing, you'll notice that the Japan team doesn't have a sponsor on their shirt. You're very welcome to get in touch and sponsor the Japan men's team, we'd be delighted.
Welcoming all kinds of support.
The Japan Under-19 team could do with a sponsor as well, of course. They'll be competing in the World Cup qualifiers next year. Japan can also start a T20 league, just like the IPL. Obviously, Siddharth doesn't watch the Japan Premier League.
Yes, Siddharth, we'd love you to watch the Premier League, which just wrapped up recently.
Well, not that recently. It wrapped up in May.
We
had the JCL T20 though. That was a 16-team comp. What Siddharth needs to do is hit the subscribe button on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Siddharth, then you won't miss anything.
We do have another interesting international competition coming up next week.
Of course, the World Cup qualifiers will take place. Japan, Indonesia and Korea. First matches on Saturday the 15th of October. Game 1 will see Indonesia take on Korea, and then Game 2, Japan will take on the old enemy Korea. Had some proper ding-dong battles against those guys. Last time the Korea men's team were in Japan, they won the East Asia Cup in 2016, beating Japan on home soil.
At the same venue.
Something we're still a bit sore about. So
absolutely. Plenty of payback to do, and we also have a bit of women's cricket action coming up.
Again, the Women's East Asia Cup will take place in Kaisuka on the 27th to the 30th of October. Just a 2-team event this time, as Korea and China couldn't make it, but Hong Kong will be here. And those 2 teams will go head-to-head. Hong Kong traditionally pretty strong, but again, the last time those 2 teams played, Japan did get over the line. The first time they've ever beaten Hong Kong. It was a few years ago now, but they'll be looking to build on that. Coach Ardeen Ruhode will be taking charge for the first time. Kento Dobell's back into the attack, we should probably mention, after a tidy first over from Declan Suzuki. Siddharth asks, are Japan recruiting players from other countries? I'm not sure what to make of that question. You have to be Japanese or you have to live in Japan. I don't think we can just recruit players. It's not like an application process.
Either by citizenship or by residency.
Yep, if you're a passport holder, you're in the team. Most of these guys are passport holders. A couple of the guys, let's have a look in today's team.
It's a good throw, excellent throw, and it's been given out.
That's out.
Chanced the run there against a very strong arm. And an excellent throw right over the stumps, which was collected neatly by Navratna, and who did very well to whip up the stumps.
Well, we've got to clarify who the catcher was there. Not catcher, fielder. Shogo Kimura with the throw.
Unsurprisingly.
Baseball ground fielding, doing the business.
Absolutely. Not still showing he still has plenty to offer in cricket as well. Shogo Kimura there, coming in very swiftly to collect the ball and throw it in one action.
Looks like Ramamurthy is a new man in.
Has the number 66 jersey on, Shogo Kimura, very similar to Joe Root.
Yeah, there was a bit of conversation between Alex Shillai-Patmore and Shogo Kimura about the number 66. I think Alex Shillai-Patmore played with Joe Root and was quite keen to have the 66.
I see.
He's ended up back with the number that he had when he played for Japan years and years ago. Got the number 14 back on his back.
Nice. Yes, excellent work there by Shogo Kimura. Didn't have a very long time to spend at the crease today. Didn't get much of an opportunity with the bat, but makes up for it with an excellent throw from the deep.
But yeah, just going back to what we were talking about, just 4 guys in the team today who are not passport holders but have all lived here for a long time. Supra Navaratna, Sabarosh Ravichandran, Vinay Iyer, and Rael Sakalano Thomas is actually not a passport holder. He was born here, but his passport expired, so he needs to renew that. I think he will be a passport holder, but he's working on that. So yeah, those guys have all been in Japan a long time and given a lot to Japan cricket. So a lot of people ask about how people qualify to play and these sorts of things. We've got a few guys based overseas, which we haven't done in the past, but these boys are all qualified through heritage, Japanese parents. All of them got Japanese mums. You can make of that what you will. But these players are all keen and committed to Japan cricket. It's been great to see them connecting with their Japanese roots, a bunch of sort of 19, 20-year-olds wanting to get to know that part of who they are, and it's fantastic that cricket can enable them to do that.
Absolutely.
Brings them back here, gives them a chance to explore the country, meet the people, and make friends, and bring their level that they've gained by growing up in a cricket-playing nation like Australia or New Zealand or England, and help bring the level of the Japanese players up, the local players. You know, these half-Japanese boys are all, as I say, very committed, and there was someone who brings up a half-Japanese daughter. I've got an 18-month-old, and she is as Japanese as she is English. And anyone tries to tell her that she's not English, I'll be having words, and I can assure you it'll be going the same the other way. So,
and likewise for her Japanese heritage, absolutely.
Exactly.
And yes, absolutely. Nice to also see the support from the parents of these players, because a lot of them are, mums and dads are watching this game from the stands.
Sakurano Thomases are here. Yamamoto Lake's mother is here. Declan Suzuki's parents are both here. Who else? Kento Otodobel's parents are not here. His dad got a new job this week.
I see.
So that was
congratulations to him.
He came all the way to South Africa to watch the Under-19 World Cup. He watched the whole lot. So great support from him. Kendall Kadawaki Fleming, his dad's been over a bit, and who knows, he might be on a plane this week to get over for the qualifiers. So yeah, it's good to have those family travelling over to support. Suzuki's going to continue from the school end. 53 for 3 after 11 overs, 6 overs to go. Required rate now over 21, so we can kind of take that out of the equation. The batters do seem to have shut up shop a little bit, don't they?
Yes.
Priyandana is 23 not out of 37. Game's just drifting a little. Gives us a chance to chat about some other things, doesn't it? Carl wants to know if Rail can get called up for New Zealand. Will he be eligible to play? Not a question I like answering, Carl. The answer is yes, he can. And it's one of the quirks of associate membership that a full member can poach an associate member without them having to do any qualification time. Whereas to go back the other way, they have to wait 3 years. Maybe even 4 years. Need to check that. But Tim David is the perfect example. Been playing for Singapore for the last few years.
Absolutely. I was just about to bring that up.
He played in the World Cup qualifiers for Singapore, and he stepped out of the final stage of the qualifiers. That one's kept low. Stepped out of the final stage of qualifiers because he thought he was probably going to get called up for Australia. Had he played for Singapore, they had a good chance of qualifying for this World Cup. Yep. So he'd have been eligible to play for 2 teams at the World Cup.
At the same competition,
At the same competition. So, it's something that irks me somewhat, I have to say. It's not really fair.
These
the big countries are allowed to just take the small countries' players, and it doesn't work the same way the other way around.
And we have had plenty of those examples even before.
That's a decent shot.
Some of the players turning up for
4 runs.
Australia or England, of course, through a lot of the Irish players coming through.
Yeah, there's that great example of Owen Morgan and Boyd Rankin.
Absolutely.
Boyd Rankin has dismissed Owen Morgan once when he was playing for England, and Rankin was playing for Ireland, and once when it was the other way around.
Yes.
So shows the slightly weirdness of international cricket at the associate level. But
indeed,
I do feel that, you know, if you're going back to associate cricket, you're not doing it for financial gain. You're doing it to give something back to that country.
To the sport as well, yes.
You know, why can't they just go straight back? If they're allowed to go one way,
they should be allowed to go the other way.
It should just be the same both ways.
Yes.
I don't really care what it is, but it should just be the same.
I also wanted to bring back the relationship of Dirk Nannes having played for Australia and the Netherlands, and of course Roloff van der Merwe for South Africa and the Netherlands as well.
Another one, Geraint Jones, went back and played for Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
There's a lot of them. Jade Dernbach turned out for Italy.
Jade Dernbach, and I think very recently we've had one of the England players also moving into America.
The interesting one is Liam Plunkett. He's over in America. His wife is American.
Yes.
He's playing in the leagues over there, and he will be eligible in a couple of years.
By way of green card.
Yeah, he needs to live there for 3 years to be eligible. I think he's into his second maybe by now.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see if he gets called up. I don't love that one. That's going to be another boundary. Beating the man, fine leg was up in the circle. Yeah, I don't really see what Liam Plunkett turning out for the USA does for anyone. he brings a lot of experience. I'd like to see him getting involved in the coaching capacity, maybe. Liam Plunkett seems like a cracking bloke whenever I've heard him talk, and certainly as an Englishman, I was a big fan of his bowling and the role he played in the 50 over World Cup victory in 2019. But
yes,
at his age, I was surprised England passed him off so quickly after that World Cup. But
he still had some wheels in his bowling, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't.
He was enjoying a very nice second life
burst,
almost. Yeah.
I just don't see what him going as a 36-year-old to an associate country necessarily brings.
Yes, America has kind of revitalized its cricket program, so to speak.
Well, there's still a fair bit of internal politics, we'll call it.
Yes.
Which does get in the way at times, but...
Of course, Major League Cricket having taken off in a big way this time again.
There's still some squabbles going on, I think.
I still have a couple of my schoolmates who I used to play cricket with, turning up for Major League Cricket sides in Atlanta and some other places.
Well, wasn't the Rakeem Cornwall innings last week?
Yes,
in the Major League?
Indeed.
Yeah, it's been one that's been doing the rounds on social media. Rakeem Cornwall scoring 205 and scoring 200 of them in boundaries.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's gone... That's gone viral, and I don't think it's done a great job of promoting the competition.
Yes.
The standard didn't look all that great.
No.
Kohei Kubota's back. Looking to give the batters the hurry up.
Quick single there. Yes, we will have not a lot of overs to go actually. Just about a little less than 5 overs remaining.
Yeah, they're battling it out, the Indonesians. These guys, at least, who are out there are getting a bit of experience. Priyandana, of course, was run out yesterday.
Yes.
In the first over, so time in the middle will do him some good.
Yes, they are looking to preserve their wickets as compared to yesterday, of course, finishing with 9 wickets down. That has missed everyone.
Probably going to be 5 wide. It might get cut off.
It has slowed down enough for the fielder to make way.
Vinay Iyer getting his hand on the ball.
Finally getting a chance.
You're involved, Vinay, I was going to say. Well done, mate.
Making his debut for Japan today among Kento Ota Dobel as well.
Yeah, proud day for Vinay for sure. So, yep, wides signalled. They came back for a couple. 3 of them, 3 wides in the end. It's pretty dark now, isn't it? 20 past 4. Even from up here, it seems pretty dark. On a normal day, it has to be said that on a normal day without the cloud cover that we've had all day, the light would be okay at this sort of time. But these last 2 days, we've just been beset by mist and cloud. And I don't know if you ever saw the film Gorillas in the Mist. As we look away to our left at these mountains, I'm imagining there are gorillas in there, just ready to come down and attack us.
It does look like that, doesn't it? Very ominous.
Foreboding.
Here.
Foreboding is the word I like.
Surrounded by hills, this pretty venue here in Sano.
Yeah, I think people are taken a bit by surprise when they see the Sano International Cricket Ground and the setting and the quality of the outfield. And today the pitch has played really well, I think.
Yes, it has. As
given the challenges that we had.
The amount of runs that Japan ended up with.
Yeah, a lot
clearly
of rain
shows.
overnight, but
yes,
didn't cause the Japanese bats.
The covers did hold up, so credit to the ground stuff as
definitely.
well. Yes, it'll be interesting to see the kind of approach that Indonesia takes going into the third game tomorrow. Whether they will like to bring back, of course, their mainstay with the ball tomorrow, Koda, and a couple of the other new boys who haven't had a look in yet into the games.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. 9:30 start tomorrow.
Yes, not a lot of time to rest today. which also means that we will have an early start tomorrow.
Yeah,
The
not thrilled
telecast.
about that.
Not very thrilled about that either, yes. But we are hoping for clearer skies and a sunny day eventually.
Fish and chip van coming tomorrow, Tamoy.
Looking forward to that.
Fish and chips.
Looking forward to that.
Always a pleasure to welcome those guys to the SICG. Makes me feel like I'm at home.
Also, Sano, pretty famous for its Sano ramen. Would you like to talk about that,
famous.
Alan?
Goodness.
One of the most famous dishes out of Japan.
Absolutely.
And Sano is very well known for its own special type of ramen.
Sano ramen and it's imo fry, potato sticks. Yeah. Oh my goodness. The captain's giving himself a bowl. I reckon the light is coming into this. Kendall Kadawaki Fleming going to roll the arm over for the first time in international cricket. Now, the last time I saw Kendall bowl was in the car park at the old office. And I'll be honest, he bamboozled me. And do you know who else I was facing that day? Alana King, who has gone on to become a World Cup / Ashes winning leg spinning sensation.
Absolutely.
Alana King was over here on a placement from the Cricket Without Borders organisation that we partner with. And Alana has been an absolute superstar. He's going to bowl around the wicket, his little tweakers. Oh my goodness. Big appeal, first ball.
Carrying on from
unmoved.
Looking to make the most of a very good day. He has already had Kadawaki Fleming.
He's got two arms in the air. he liked it.
A very prolonged appeal, I must say.
He liked it for sure. I think he's bringing himself on largely because of the light here, just trying to help out the...
Very eager to get it going along, but the batsman not ready there.
I think he might just be... the batter's backed away. I was wondering if he was warning the non-striker for a moment.
Ah, that was close. Yes, excellent pedigree there, having faced these two excellent bowlers, Alan, in the car park.
Yeah. And it didn't go well for me, I have to be honest.
Of course. So
I was using a plastic Cricket Blast bat.
Right. And Kadawaki Fleming, of course, looking to build on from that outing.
Yes, absolutely. I gave him some tips, and Alana. I mean, that's really the secret behind their success is the tips I gave him in the car park that day.
Another dead ball there.
You're not quite sure what's happened there. He's just
the batsman's taking a little too long to, I think, set up, and Kadawaki Fleming very eager to go through his over as quickly as possible.
I think that was a delivery. I think the batter's just left it. Rob, the umpire, has not signalled a dead ball.
Over extra cover for 4. Excellent shot there. Finally, some intent.
Yeah, after 3 balls of just... Yeah.
It's been confirmed that was a legitimate ball.
Yeah, the walkie-talkie's going off behind me.
It would have been interesting if the ball had clipped the stumps there.
Ben on comms on the chat just making the point that 3 years for qualification is too short in general. Well, that's a bit wide. That'll be called. I agree. I think 3 years is too short. I thought 7 years was probably too long because that's basically a career.
Yep.
But I do think maybe 5 would be a right compromise. 3 years is, I mean, you don't live somewhere for 3 years and become that nationality. I mean, how long have you been here, Tamra?
2 years. So
in a year's time you'll be eligible. But how Japanese do you feel?
I don't think my aching bones will allow me to qualify to play cricket of any kind.
But I mean, I've been in Japan for 9 years now. I've got a Japanese wife and a half Japanese child. And if I was called up to represent Japan, which obviously I won't be, I don't know. I think that would probably be okay in that I've lived here long enough.
But it does make you eligible, doesn't it?
I am. That's a cracking throw. It's a direct hit from the boundary.
Hit, but not been
Ravi
given
Chandran,
out,
I think, but nothing doing.
Brilliant throw from the deep there.
Batter was home. But yeah, and I think it is a personal thing. I mean, you can have people who live in the country for 3 years and are incredibly committed. They're here for life. They're not going anywhere, and they're all in. But then you can have guys who live here for 10 years and don't speak the language and stick very much to their own communities and aren't interested at all. So where do you draw a line with that? It's a difficult one, I think.
Absolutely. It's not just a matter of, the going through the legal processes of being eligible, but do you feel connected to that place at all?
It's a personal thing. And, we actually say in selection eligibility criteria that we do want to speak to everybody before we call them up. If you're qualifying through residency, it's not quite an interview, but we want to know the kind of person you are and what your individual circumstances are and whether or not you're going to buy into what the JCA are trying to do.
Absolutely.
That's a half-decent shot.
Indonesia has passed its total from yesterday already with 3 overs to play.
Sakulano Thomas is back into the attack. 2 overs for 13 coming into this. Not quite the wicket haul he picked up yesterday, but probably 1 more over to go for him. 3 overs to go for the team. 35.65 the required rate. That's going to tick over to 36 in a moment. At which point we can officially pronounce this game, I think. That's a good hit. That's going to go over the ropes. 4 runs for Priyandana, who's quietly going about having a good day, isn't he?
Yes,
he's on to 36.
He's been batting through. He opened the innings, of course, for Indonesia. Did not have a good time in the middle yesterday, of course. Short-lived out in the first over itself. But he's made amends. He's batted through the innings, looking to keep the innings together. Even though Indonesia is well and truly out of the game at this point.
KB is asking us if Kendall's joined Neil and having the World Cup 50 for Japan. Sorry, KB, this isn't a World Cup. It's just a bilateral series, but he does have an international half-century. There are plenty of people with international half-centuries for Japan, of course.
Of course. Nicely struck there in the offside, but
sweepers out there
to the fielder.
That's Lachlan Yamamoto Lake. Pings that back. Good arm.
Good throw.
That's the required rate. Over 36. Running repairs on the guy's shoes. Good to see the Japanese players helping out the Indonesians.
Yes, always nice to see this part of the game.
Sabarish Ravichandran, just batter, bowler, fielder, shoelace tire. Another string to his bow.
Excellently held by Vinay Iyer there.
Vinay Iyer's in the game. Well
he
done,
is
Vinay.
finally in the game. He's taken a fantastic
too.
catch there at short fine leg. The ball was sharp. The travelling is dive to his right side. Taken an excellent catch. He seems to have a bit of a fan following going here with the local support.
Yeah, he's done well. He'll be happy with that. That'll make his day, I think. I'm sure he would have been a little disappointed to have not had a chance with the bat, but
didn't get a chance.
That's a sharp catch, and I'll be honest, it wasn't much of a delivery from Rayo. I think Rayo will be feeling pretty lucky about that.
Yes, another wicket.
But he'll take it.
Rayo.
Sakulano Thomas has 6 wickets in international cricket.
Excellent start to his international bowling career.
Yeah, picked up the Midas touch, it looks like. Doesn't matter how you get them. Who's our new batsman?
We have a number 9, Awoe coming in.
Danielson. God, it's murky, Tamway.
It has gone extremely
really
dark there very
now.
quickly. Yes, just the 2 overs to play after this. So hopefully we are of course past the 4:30 time already of the conventional finish to the game. But because we've had some delays here, of course we still have a couple of overs to get through.
Yeah, Priyandana has gone about his business pretty well. I mean, it's been more of a 50 over innings than a T20 innings, I'd say.
Yes, never looked in a rush to get the runs, but
batting
good on
time's
him.
important.
Good on him. He's put a price on his wicket. He's
It gives them something to build on.
Through, absolutely.
It's been two pretty, I hate to say it, pretty chastening defeats for Indonesia and for Japan. It's been, fantastic preparation, I guess, moving into the World Cup qualifiers.
We're going to have Sabarish Ravichandran coming in to bowl the 16th, the penultimate over. I think also just to get through the overs as quickly as possible at this stage of the game. Japan is not really looking to bowl them out at this rate.
Yeah, just get through these overs. Sabarish tends to bowl his pretty quickly. 2 overs for 10 so far today. Had a bit of a flurry with the bat. Now it's driven. No grab a single. No real determination to get back for 2.
Yes, Priyandana, well, seems like, of course, a batter of the traditional, conventional mold. Probably would have appreciated a little more support from the other end there. But yes, those first 2 wickets falling in the first 2 overs for Indonesia's chase really put paid to their hopes.
Similar story to yesterday, wasn't it? Wickets in the first couple and just a bit of a setback. They didn't tumble like they did yesterday when we saw 3 and 4 balls in the 6th over, but still it just put the skids on straight away, really. And I mean, when you're trying to chase 10 and over from ball 1, you're up against it, aren't you? You need everything to go your way. You need to be smashing it from ball 1.
Absolutely.
I just don't think from what I've seen, I'm not sure they got the players to do it.
Yes, the T20 mold is a little different as it is, isn't it, Alan? We've already seen it with the Japan batters. They're a little more in tune with the nature of the game.
It reminds me a little bit of the Japan side that was playing when I first arrived 9 years ago. Probably a bit more suited to the longer format.
Right.
If they played 50 over cricket, they
did.
They could go about their business.
Yes.
They could go about their business and bat a bit longer, and they'd bowl tidily and accurate, and they could restrict teams. But they don't necessarily have the power. Whereas the Japan team now has moved on from that. We've got players who are more suited to playing T20 cricket.
Absolutely, you could see from the boundaries being hit, the sixes being hit, and just having said that, there has been a fantastic catch there.
That is Declan Suzuki.
Declan Suzuki has pulled off a stunner.
He dropped a soda yesterday, and today he's thrown himself to his left, full length, right down in front of us, the sight screen, just getting in the way of it a tiny bit. Hopefully there's a photographer around here who's grabbed that, because
yes, that is one
beautiful one.
That is one for social medias, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, how are we? Short stay and a wicket for Ravichandran. He'll be happy with that.
Yes, wicket for Ravichandran and Suzuki with that catch. New batsman, of course, coming in and taking strike according to the new rules. The wicketkeeper, Ramdhani.
Ahmad Ramdhani. In he comes. We haven't seen the captain at all today, have we?
Yes, conspicuously missing.
Ooh, that was a bit of a full bunger, and that
has been
gone for
clobbered
six,
for 6.
I think.
First up.
That's got what it's deserved. It's very uncharacteristic from Sabarish Ravichandran to. That must have just slipped out of the hand. Good over up until that point.
He'll
finish this spell with 1 for 19 from 3 overs. That'll sting him.
Yeah, much like Sakurana Thomas.
Much like Sakurana Thomas yesterday.
Last ball yesterday.
Okay, looks like the debutant is going to bowl the final over. Kento Otodobel. Bowled tidily enough, was involved in a collision earlier on, but seems to have recovered okay from that. Captain's with him, having a bit of a chat.
Also interesting to see Ibi Takahashi having made the trip from long on to long on from both ends.
Oh, lucky him. Young guy, keeping
been
fit.
Traveling a lot.
Otodobel comes in.
Struck firmly down the ground, but
I mean, we're talking about the light.
Excellently struck by Priyandana.
We're talking about the light, Tamway, and it is dark. We can't deny it, but these guys are still hitting it okay.
They are. I mean, I'm guessing
there can't be too much problem with visibility out in the middle.
Yes, I mean, also we are in a closed, darker room, so.
And I'm looking through a particularly murky, dirty, dusty window. I don't think this window's been cleaned in about 9 years.
Yes, it'll be seen in social medias if we put up pictures of the commentary box.
That's a wide.
Which happens to be a disused classroom, doesn't it?
Yeah, this old school building that we're in. That brings up the 100, I think, for Indonesia. So, progress from yesterday?
Yes, 3 figures finally, 100 for 5.
Priyandana, I think, will get back on strike from that.
Which will
give him a chance to get towards this. Oh no, he's not. He's at the non-striker's end. Ignore me. Long again.
Yes, Priyandana is batting on 44. He's had an excellent stay out there in the middle. Open the batting, of course, carrying through the innings. One of the positives to take for Indonesia
absolutely.
into the third game.
Absolutely. I mean, the bowling was a struggle.
Driven straight down the ground.
Just take one. So Priyandana will...
Happy with the one.
Will he get the strike back? I can't see the shirt numbers anymore.
No.
It's too dark.
Ramdhoni's
back on strike now. But yeah, they'll take something away from this. I think, being able to have batted the overs. They've only lost 5 wickets. They lost 5 wickets in the first 6 overs yesterday, so they can take some pleasure in that. Oh, that's an edge, and that's out.
That is an edge indeed. And Ramdhoni
caught by Super Navaratna. And Dhoni goes, and a maiden international wicket for Kento Otadobel.
Good on ya, Kento Otadobel, for his first international wicket. Navaratna gets a dismissal as well. He's had a pretty good day behind the stumps as well, getting a run out before and whipping the stumps off, and this time getting a very smart catch.
Pankaj Chand, sorry, you go.
Yeah.
Pankaj Chand's in the chat. He was here yesterday. Hi, Pankaj. Recently a winner of the JCL T20, playing for Paddy Foley's. He contributed to that run chase against the Chiba Sharks. Done a bit of work on the live stream for us as well, Pankaj. Didn't know his written English was so good. But yep, Kento Otadobel grabs a 6th wicket for Japan. Indonesia now 103 for 6. 2 balls to go. Required rate now 231. It's probably a little unnecessary to have that down the bottom of the screen, but
that's a figure you don't expect to see very often. Left well alone, which has been signalled wide as well by umpire Chris Thurgate.
Wide signal, just dragging things out a little bit more. Yeah, Priyandana 45 not out from 52 deliveries. That's where he's going to stay, I think. Otadobel has beaten the bat. Big swing from Kadek. Looking to finish with a flourish. Final ball of the game. .76 needed from 1 ball. So it's going to be a big win. Similar sort of margin to yesterday's game.
And there's another play and a miss. A very tame end to the second T20I between Japan and Indonesia. There, Japan winning comfortably, and also taking this bilateral series to leading the series to 2-0.
Yep, 3-match series. That's 2-0 to Japan. Kendall Kadawaki Fleming, the captain, will be delighted. I'm sure he'll probably be picking up the MVP award shortly as well, I suspect.
Winning by 75 runs on this occasion.
Coach Dougal Bedingfield will, I'm sure, be happy too.
He'll be delighted.
We will have a match report up on the JCA website tonight at some point, once I get around to writing it.
Shortly.
It may not be before midnight Japan time, but we'll see. There will be plenty of stuff across the J Series socials. Lots of photographs, lots of tweets, Instagram posts, Facebook posts. So please do go and check them out. Give them a like, give us a follow.
There's plenty of action on socials.
Absolutely. And we'll be back tomorrow morning, won't we, Tamoy? 9:30 Japan time.
Yes,
the game
don't
starts.
forget to tune in much earlier tomorrow. We have an early morning start here in Japan. And for those in different parts of the world, just do take note. We will be back here doing the commentary, bringing it to you in both the languages, in Japanese and in English. And that will conclude the series after the third game tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. It's been great having you. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Just to conclude, a 75-run win for Japan to give them the series 2-0. And myself, Alan Kerr, and my co-commentator, Tanmoy Mukherjee, wish you all the best for your evening and hope you'll be back to join us tomorrow.
Have a good evening, folks.